down in Charlotte, I started coaching with Charlotte Soccer Association, which is now like the
CSA,
biggest club in Carolina.
I think a lot of folks here don't see necessarily what you see or what I see because they've only been here.
Great point. They're different people, different styles, different personalities, but at the genuine heart of it, they're two guys that are trying to do something culturally for the community from a soccer perspective. At the heart of it, it's the same desire. It's the same end goal. I'm sitting in a room with their entire staff, assistant at Temple, head coach at New England College, head coach at Holy Cross, Skidmore's assistant. You're just surrounded by college coaches, which then just opens up conversation. My first question was, what do you think about soccer in Western New York? I wanted to know. And they were like, well, Mike, you don't have to beat around the bush. Just tell me. Just tell me straight up what your opinion is. And the response I got was,
I hate soccer.
Yeah, it was nice to get home and see a lot of coaches that I haven't seen in a while. And, I mean, it was the first year. There's probably, supposedly there's supposed to be like 800 attendees for the first year. And hopefully it continues. But yeah, it was good. Yeah. It was, I mean, Alexi was the main person. And then Peter Vermees was there.
oh, nice.
Peter Vermees. I was going to have him on Sunday, but then it like something came up and I had to leave. So, but it was awesome.
Yeah. I was chuckling when I saw Alexi on. So I met him when I was 10.
Okay.
1990, he was a junior at Rutgers. Mm-hmm. And they came to play Bonaventure when they were both in the A-10.
Okay.
So it was my cousin's first home college game. So he was a freshman for Bonaventure.
Okay.
And during that summer, my uncle played with the U.S. National B team.
Okay.
And watched the tape, like old VHS tape.
What's your uncle's name?
Michael DiNunzio.
Okay.
So he was my dad's. He's the youngest of
the brothers.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he had gotten called into the USB team right after the World Cup. So I'm watching this tape with my dad. See this guy with this flowing red locks, right? So you're not going to forget that.
No.
So we're going to watch Rutgers. I'm like, that's the guy we just watched. My father's like, there's no way. So I went up to him, talked to him after the game, have a picture. I'm like, at his waist.
Yeah.
But then the next year he goes on, wins the Herman Trophy. And
yep.
Off he goes with his career. But it was like, there's a picture where he's kind of staring at my mother like, I can't believe this is happening. Because you're a junior in college. Like, why would anybody know who you are? But it was completely just random by happenstance that he was playing with my uncle during the summer, and I recognized him because of his hair.
He was so nice. He was so giving to like everybody. Anybody that wanted to just pull him across or pull him aside, he gave them probably 10, 15, 20 minutes.
That's great.
It was awesome. He's a good dude.
Yeah.
And I haven't, other than since I coached at a private school where he could have gone, and he played at the other one. That's the only reason why I really know of him. And then obviously I have some guys that knew him growing up and stuff. But thanks for coming.
No, I appreciate it. Finally making it.
I know, nice.
Making the time work.
I know, nice polo. Like how is everything? How is everything going with the transition from FC Buffalo to that? And
it's good. It's as always, you can still consider everything as a startup, and even going into year 3 as truthfully an organization, because even though it's a transition, there's not a lot of functional change, if you will.
Right.
Nikki and I and Mike Giafo have been there since the start, and it's a new brand and some new resources and some new connections, but the bulk of it and the core of it has remained the same, which is nice, because that's the stability part for us that we just kind of move forward with. The rest of it comes with growth and change.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be adaptable and adjust, which is it's all been very, very good. I mean, really even moving from Nick into working with Peter, they're different people, different styles, different personalities, but at the genuine heart of it, they're two guys that are trying to do something culturally for the community from a soccer perspective.
For sure.
Maybe looking at it differently, but both of them, approaching it differently, have their own spin on it.
Yeah.
But at the heart of it, it's the same desire. It's the same end goal. We just have to work together a little bit differently as to how we want to get there. Mm-hmm. And now it shifts. There's a bit more of a longer term focus on what the academy is eventually not just going to look like, but what its purpose is.
Yeah.
There's a destination really in play for at least on the boys' side to start, and definitely the hope on the girls' side as well at the same level.
Right. Can you go in, tell me about the USL? I don't really know a lot about it.
It's crazy, and that's one of the things that I look at, even just our area and soccer desert. You've said it, people have said it. We're in the middle of nothingness. We're cut off by Canada, then we're a good distance away, and it's Rochester, and then really that's it. Detroit's closer than people think. Yep. Pittsburgh's closer than people. It's easier to go and play teams from Detroit than it is to go and play teams from the city. And the number of times I could get into that with leagues and stuff to explain that to people outside the area. They're like, well, Detroit's far. I'm like, Detroit's 4.5 hours. Exactly. I would rather drive there than drive 6.5 hours to go play in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
But it's the nature. But the USL, it's older than the MLS, and people don't really understand that.
All right.
It's 40 years old. In 2026, it'll be 40 years of existence. So 10 years longer than the MLS. And it has evolved and grown from being an indoor league, I think in the first 2, maybe 3 seasons, coming out of the heyday of the missile, right? Mm-hmm. Like the 80s, it was all about indoor soccer. It was fantastic. And I think people sometimes think like, oh, the MLS. And that was when I know of guys that were making really good money playing for San Diego, Cleveland, like the 80s, Dallas Sidekicks and Tattoo. There was money, and those guys were full-fledged professionals and high-quality players.
Right.
So the USL started as indoor league. Missile continued to grow and then evolved into the AISA, and the NASL folded. Then UISL kind of jumped in like 89 and took on a lot of those teams or franchises and then built that out. And it evolved into the American Independent Soccer Association, which eventually became the A-League in like 1990. Actually, it might have been 1996, same year as the MLS, but it was around that same time frame.
Yep.
So it rolled through as the A-League. They had the D3 Pro League, and then it was after I graduated. So 2001 maybe, PDL starts.
Yeah.
So they're really the first group that has a tiered system of second division, but A-League, D3 Pro League, and then the PDL. Mm-hmm. As it then, again, progressed, it switched to USL 1 and USL 2 and PDL. And that was in the middle of when I was in Rochester, so that was 2004. They made that brand change. And then it continued to progress, but they didn't make any other adjustments until 2010. With the creation of USL Championship.
Yep.
Which at the end of the day was USL 1.
Right.
Then USL 2 becomes USL League 1. And PDL becomes USL League 2.
Right.
So they've been operating since 2010 with Championship League 1 and USL League 2. And the number of teams that has continued to grow and the stability that the entire USL ecosystem has is crazy. Oldest operating soccer team in the country. Do you know who it is? Professional team.
No.
Richmond Kickers.
Really?
And they've lived kind of in that ecosystem of, they've never dropped to PDL or to League 2, but they were A-League, then came down to USL 2, then went back up, and then now live as a USL League 1 team. It's probably right for their market, given you've got Atlanta, Charlotte. You've got a lot now drawing soccer-wise, so a League 1 level is probably where Richmond fits. But that league has sustained. Charleston, Charlotte Eagles is going on 30-some-odd years of existence. The Battery, there's so much history within that league that is a little bit swept under the rug because 96 came, MLS came, and everything went away.
Everybody forgets about USL
Right.
or A-League.
Or A-League.
Yeah.
And all of that even being there. I mean, people don't even realize that Seattle was in the USL.
Right.
So was Portland. Those were all teams that moved from the A-League or League One or USL 1 into MLS over time. Same owners organization, just shifted over and took the expansion rights within the MLS. So it's been good for U.S. soccer, and I think long term it's going to continue to be strong. Where it sits now is with the growth of the Division One. So let's prognosticate and say, based upon how it is, my guess would be they call it the Premiership. Why wouldn't you? You've already got Championship. You've got League One and League Two.
Right.
Why not just continue? And you've named your women's league the Super League. So
Exactly.
you've already set yourself up to mirror England and Europe. Why not just call it the USL Premiership?
Right.
But within that, having promotion relegation is going to change the game for every organization in that group. It doesn't matter where they are. If it's Omaha, Boise, Rhode Island, it's going to be fantastic on a professional level. And I think from the women's game, I think the Super League is going to change things tremendously for the women's side as well.
Do you think it already has on the women's side some?
A little bit. I think it's genuinely giving more opportunities, not just for investment on the women's side. I mean, you're seeing that in Kansas City, you're seeing that in other places. And what's crazy to me is people talk about, we've got to invest in the women's game. You could go back 15 and 20 years. A lot of investment's been going into the women's game, just people don't talk about it. Like if you really go to some of those SEC schools and those SEC programs that don't have men's college soccer, but they have women's college soccer.
Oh, yeah.
Those facilities are unbelievable.
Yep.
It's outrageous. And again, that's great. And that helped develop, I think, the college game to another level where you had a little bit more parity and resources were being shared. And it wasn't just UNC, UConn and building that out. You've got now, Oklahoma, LSU, Texas, you've got bigger programs. But yeah, on the women's side, of course, they're going to invest in the NWSL level. But now with the Super League, I think there's more creativity on how they're investing. Mm-hmm. Playing on an international calendar changes some things. That was a big risk for them to even just start the league and say we're starting in and going off right from September.
Right.
Teams like Brooklyn are able to do it. It's showing a model for everybody else that this is doable in the U.S. to be on the same calendar as the bulk of the rest of the world that we're competing with.
Right.
So I do think from that side it's changed, but having two tiers within their own system of Super League, W League, and a youth system, I think that's going to make dramatic impact for the women's game and the men's game long term.
When did USL start the youth?
So it's really kind of always been floating in there. Again, it's just been hidden. They've had the Super Y League for.
So Super
Y was their league, and now that has evolved and become USL Y. So when you really look at their ecosystem, USL Division 1 on the men's side, USL Championship, USL League 1, League 2 is pre-pro. Then you have USL Academy, and then you have USL Y, which is USL Youth. And then on the women's side, it's at the moment Super League, W League, trial divisions of the academy space, but really it's USL Y on that side. And looking outside of our area, USL Y it's a summer league. It's an additional league for a lot of clubs to play that the kids don't want to stop playing. So rather than jumping on a Buffalo Junior, Western New York travel team, they just stay with their team and they play 4 play dates, 8 games, June, July, and if you win your division, you go to the finals in Florida, which it just ends up being another event for your team and for your club.
Right.
So it's a nice little structure, and it's also open to anybody. So you don't have to be within the USL ecosystem and have every team and every age group participate. It really comes down to, are there enough teams in your area to build a useful division that makes enough sense.
Right.
So it's a little bit sneakily unique compared to everything else.
How many games are you guys getting?
For us, we don't have
A set schedule.
we don't have a USLY schedule for our area.
Right.
We don't have enough groups within our area to make the USLY work through the summer.
Uh-huh.
So for our breakdown, we've got USL Academy at the oldest age groups. That's our U20 age group, which we've been running at the last 2 years. Club agnostic, really just a summer program. Starts end of April, realistically middle of May. And then we go May through July when everything else is dying down. It's a mix of kids coming back from college, kids, sophomores, juniors, seniors, high school, kids going into their freshman year. And where we are, we're just a U20 team, and maybe we have a couple of guys that are overage that play with us because you're allowed 5 overage players every game.
Okay.
So this year we had a couple of guys that dueled with FC Buffalo League 2 team, but played with us because they weren't maybe getting the minutes that they wanted with the League 2 team.
Mm-hmm.
When you look across other USL organizations that have their first teams up and running, Detroit's a great example because we played Detroit twice this year. Their U20 team is playing UPSL and in the Academy League. Their U20 team is their first team reserve team. So they're dropping guys down that aren't getting minutes or are rehabbing or need some more time, or they're younger and they're with the first team, but they have an opportunity to go and get games in meaningful minutes.
Right.
They play with Detroit. And then Detroit at the same time is bringing in kids from outside the area to give them a look to be around their environment. Like this year, they had 2 kids from Chapel Hill playing with them. I think it was Chapel Hill. I think that's what they told us, is they were Chapel Hill. But they had a bunch of kids from outside the area coming back playing because they see it as, here's my opportunity to be in a professional environment through the summer, showcase what I'm capable of. And yeah, maybe I'm not ready now and I'll go back for another fall of college soccer, but I've shown them what I can do and I've put myself in a position to eventually come back maybe down this pipeline. We took it on the chin last summer. And I would take the blame for this one without question, because it was over exuberance. We went down and played Pittsburgh Riverhounds.
Okay.
And it was our first game. We had a lot of conflicts, so we supplemented. We took a really young roster, like properly young roster. Stepped on the field and they had 5 first teamers. So their goalkeeper was with the first team. Their third goalkeeper in their depth chart. Center back was coming back from injury. They had 2 other guys that just hadn't broken in and got any minutes. So they played 5 full overage players. And they put it on us properly, like they should. And it was great because kids come back and I'm thinking like, oh man, people drove and kids loved it. It was for them. They didn't care what the score was. They got a lesson in playing. They understood like, geez, I'm nowhere near the pace as this guy, so I got to go back and work. And I think that for me, and even as we communicate with the kids that we have involved, the USL Academy, and they've said this openly at organizational meetings, on calls, we as Academy coaches, directors, wherever, should not be caught up in the results of our Academy League games. Because the reality is one day you might come with a bunch of 17-year-olds, 18, 19, 20, and you just might get matched up that day against 5 guys that are rehabbing, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. It's really should be looked at. Those guys are getting the benefit of getting their rehab and getting back to a high level, and the younger players are getting the benefit of that's what I want to aspire to be.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing it not just as a fan. I'm on the field and the guys running past me. Now I know what pace I need to be at.
I think that's exactly what I feel like what we've been missing is access to the pros and see what goes into being a pro. We had that for a blip with the Western New York Flash women when they were in the NWSL. And the girls walking the halls at Salins saw those players, the Abby Wambachs, the Carly Lloyds, the Sam Mewises, and they get to see and aspire and really see it. But then since they've been gone, a lot of these kids coming up, They have no idea what it takes to be
No.
a pro.
The tangible nature of the touch and see, I will tell people all the time, that's what I benefited from. Like I no bones about when I look at my journey from growing up here to then playing professionally for 7 years and traveling the world and seeing different things. I benefited from the locker rooms that I had access to as a 6 and 7 year old through really my freshman year of college, between my father being a college coach at Buff State, his best friend, Gene Tassi, who was the men's coach at Niagara Buff State and then was at the University of Buffalo until 2005 or 6. So he was there for a while. But my uncles gave me greater access to the inner workings of what it looked like. And I even mean the behind the scenes stuff. So
if you're watching this, you're probably a soccer player, a soccer parent, or a soccer coach. For a player, are you making the right decisions of which club you're going to? Are you making the right decisions of which highlights to incorporate into your recruiting highlight reel? We can help you with that. And if you're a soccer parent, are you guys at the right club? How to approach a coach? What to email coaches? How to navigate the recruiting process? If you're a coach, are my sessions spot on? Are they age appropriate? How do I deal with parents? How do I deal with young kids that don't listen to me? We are having our confidence challenge. It is a 3-day or a 3-call one-on-one with me to help you navigate youth soccer. Join us for our August challenge. The link will be below this video.
my Uncle Bobby started in Toledo, 1985, 86, around there. So I was 4 and 5 driving to Toledo with my parents to go watch the Toledo Pride play. And I mean, indoor soccer, like I mentioned before, probably until 1988, 89, I didn't really know that there was professional soccer outside of indoor soccer. I thought indoor soccer was like, that was it.
That was it.
Like, I'm going to be a professional indoor soccer player. Didn't really know about anything else. Yeah, I can kind of vaguely remember people talking about like Borussia Dortmund because my cousin had gone to Germany and Manchester United a little bit.
But we didn't.
No.
We didn't compute.
No.
Like we didn't know that because we couldn't watch it.
No, it wasn't on TV. And that's, people will be like, oh, you grew up a Man United fan, or you're a Man United fan because you were in the heyday. I was like, no. The first soccer game my dad put on a TV was in 1987, and it was Man United. The second outdoor game I watched was Indiana Hoosiers versus Howard University in the NCAA final.
Like Yeagley.
Exactly, yeah. It was Yeagley, Ken Snow. Like, the first guy I wanted to be was Ken Snow when I saw, like, outside soccer. But, so my uncle was in Toledo. He then shifted to Canton, to the Canton Invaders. And I just, the moment I knew, okay, this is it for me, was they used to drop this ball. Big metal ball in the corner of the field. And it was the player's entrance tunnel. And it would open up, and it was like a spaceship. Guy would come out, and they would run out. And, I mean, it was mostly Van Halen music. But for me, that was, okay, this is what I want to do. And then post-game, my uncle would just grab me, and I'd go in the locker room with them. So I'd be 7, 8, and sitting in a locker room post-game, listening to post-game talks from guys I could truly barely understand, like foreign coaches that they had. But then looking around and watching a variety of post-game routines, because you had guys that were very meticulous with their health, and then you had guys that, I mean, it was the late 80s, so there was a lot of beer. But it was an exposure of this is what I want. This is what I want to be a part of. I like leaving a locker room and seeing fans. Like, I want to be there, but being able to be in that locker room didn't let me talk to people. It let me listen to coaches. It let me mess around with, I mean, Rudy and Randy were in Canton with my Uncle Bobby at the start, Pickasinski brothers. And then my Uncle Michael ended up in Canton as well. So had the 2 DiNunzios from Tonawanda and the 2 Pickasinskis from Cheektowaga on the same team in Canton. They won, 4 championships in a row. Jamie Swanner, fantastic goalkeeper. They had teams. There's Denzel Washington. Or Denzel, I think his last name was Washington. He's on Instagram or Twitter now as like Denzel Magic. Guy could do things with the ball. Unbelievable. And my dad wore number 6. Beckenbauer wore 6, and Denzel wore 6. So I wore 6. So for me, that was like I had a hero that I could physically be around and talk to as a kid. That for me, it was like this is what my life is supposed to look like in 10 years. Mm-hmm. And then when the blizzard came to Buffalo, my uncle was, I think, pick 2 or trade number 2, whatever he was, Michael. So Michael came here first, and Bobby was still in Canton. But then I had access to the blizzard locker room. And over time, people forget who has actually come through between the Odd and now even KeyBank Center and has played for teams in Buffalo. Eusebio. Going now to the blizzard, you had Tony Miola was a goalkeeper for 5 games, 6 games for the blizzard after the World Cup. So Tony Miola was the Buffalo Blizzard goalkeeper for a handful of games. Like
after the 90 World Cup or 94?
94. He was here, I think, in
Holy cow.
97, 96, 97, because I was deep into high school by the time he got here. But like, he was here, and maybe it was 95 because maybe it was pre MLS. So it might have been 95, but it was definitely
he was trying out for the Jets.
When he was kicking for the Jets, exactly. So it was in that phase where he was probably just looking for something to do.
Exactly.
And but he came in, so you had Tony Miola come in. You had Richie Williams, which I know was 95 because it was pre him going to DC. But you had guys that, I mean, they were big time players. Chris Kelderman. You had a handful of guys that played here in Buffalo that went on to have really good careers through the MLS and beyond the MLS. It's pretty remarkable, but I had access to that as a kid.
Right.
So it's hard sometimes to tell people or to explain to them what I've experienced that call it what it is. It's not normal. Like that's not normal for someone to say.
So in Michigan, we had the Rockers, and then we had like the Neon.
Yeah.
And so indoor soccer growing up was very popular. Everybody played in indoor leagues. Is that how Buffalo used to be and Rochester used to be?
Yeah. I mean, I think, like I said, I genuinely didn't really think outdoor soccer was bigger than indoor soccer as a real little kid. Like when I was really starting, playing in the YMCA leagues, playing at Brighton Park here now they tore down the rink, but it was Brighton and then Sportsplex. Sportsplex used to have 2 indoor fields. So I chuckle when I go in there with my boys now, or I go in with coaching, or even parents that have kids that never went in there as a kid, right? They've lived in Buffalo their whole life. They didn't play, so they had no reason to go in there. So trying to explain to people, I'm like, yeah, we're on the tennis side. And they're like, what are you talking, the tennis side? And I forget. I'm like, oh, yeah, you didn't play soccer. So when you go into Sportsplex, the left side of the building was a tennis center.
Okay.
And you could watch the glass just like you could now, but it was all tennis.
Yeah.
So it was weird. They had a weird entrance, and the women's locker room was there. But there was nothing over there. Like, you had no business as a soccer player being on the left side of the building. But on the right side of the building, where the glass is now, that used to be a ramp that you would walk down. They had a full-size boarded field on the right with some space behind the goal, set of bleachers that ran the length of the field, and then there was a mini boarded field behind it. So my first memories of playing were on the mini boarded field behind the big field. And then when the blizzard came along, that's where they trained. So they had, there's a door, I think it's a storage room now, inside the locker room that was like shut for a long time. But that was their locker room when they trained.
Wow.
So like thinking about that facility, and you're like, oh, it's not that big of a field. Like there was a full size indoor field with bleachers and benches in that same space, and then a little mini, pond size one behind it. But that's all we grew up playing. And then going to Rochester, playing in indoor tournaments was kind of what you got geared up for through the winter.
Right.
It's some of my craziest memories. My dad, I remember spinning out, doing a full donut on ice at like 6:15, 6:30 in the morning, getting off in Syracuse to go to CNY because I was playing in a tournament there, guest playing with a team out of Syracuse, and we had a caravan, and like we're just spinning. But that's you drove in the winter to go play indoor events. And I mean, even as late as 96, 97, we're still competing in the U.S. Indoor National Championships. We
had that in Michigan in 2007, 2008. I don't even know if that thing exists anymore.
I doubt it. I the only boarded field tournament that I know of that still exists, I think, is in Cleveland. I think Cleveland Forest still runs one in conjunction. But they're gone because everybody took the boards out.
Why?
I don't know. I heard you on a podcast say before we threw away our own futsal, and 100% we did.
Yeah.
100%. Like, I love futsal. I am a
do
massive
too.
futsal proponent. Want to get it on the gym floors. We do it at the academy, and we've done it for the last 2 years, and are doing it again this year. It's a great tool, and it's great for us in our area because we're facility limited. Let's just say it what it is. We're facility limited. So let's make the best use of what we have. We've got gyms. We've got hard floors. Play futsal. That's what they do in other parts of the world, and you get so many touches. But the pace of the game, of a boarded field, the lessons that you picked up, you can't train that. It just happens. Like taking a shot as a kid now and you miss, you're like, oh, I missed. And you're on and you're thinking, or you shoot and you don't want to miss. So you don't hit it because you don't want to miss the target. You play indoor. You hit the ball, hits the wall. You got to go get it again. Mm-hmm. It comes back to you. You don't have time to sit there and be like, oh, I missed that shot.
Exactly.
Like, ball's back in play. Or guy takes a shot and you're defending and the ball hits the wall. You got to turn and defend again. So your reaction time of, I got to follow the shot, I've got to be in it, changes. Figuring out how to beat defenders one-on-one or hold the ball or shield or get stuck in on a tackle because you don't want to hit the boards.
Yeah.
Because that hurts.
Yeah.
The old turf, learning how to defend without sliding
God.
because you would get up and half your leg would be gone.
It's miserable.
There was great benefit to playing boarded soccer that we kind of threw it away. I don't really know why. I mean, I guess I do know why. I mean, it was, hey, we got to get to bigger fields. Everyone else plays year round, but we gave up a tool that I do think really did benefit our community. It was something different. Like, I know major arena soccer league exists still.
Yep.
So they've got that cranking on, and they do a really nice job, and they've got a couple of tiers, and I know we've got a local team that plays out in Lockport, and it's a lot of fun to watch. That's the other part. It's entertaining. But as a developmental tool, we threw it away. Mm-hmm. And it would be amazing to bring it back. Just one place to put in boards to play. And it's one of the reasons that when my boys were really little, and even we've gone and trained in GPS, people are like, oh, I'm in the box tonight. I don't like training in the box at Epic. So Mike's got the 99 by 99 field in the back.
Right.
Like, this is the best. We got older kids, 7v7, just throw some pug goals and let's play. I mean, last winter, actually, we played here in your place.
Yep.
For training sessions. And we would just turn the goals over and make the little nets.
Yep.
And I would tell
That's
the kids,
exactly.
boards, walls, everything's in play.
100%.
Just stay away from the nets hanging up. Just off you go. 6-7 minutes in, they're like, Coach, we need a water. I'm like, yeah, you need a water because you're not fit enough to play at this pace. Like, and we're talking about a tight space.
And there's nowhere to hide. Yep.
You're on the ball. You've got to figure it out. That desperately is missing without a doubt. I mean, we did it even in college. We would play pickup on, it was multi-purpose little indoor rink arena that was for basketball, floor hockey, whatever. But that's what we did during the winter when you couldn't have structured training. It would be like, okay, boys, we're meeting at 6 a.m. Off we go, and we'd throw out the ball. And we weren't smart enough at that point to either grab a futsal ball that wasn't going to ricochet or a one of those old fuzzy balls, the gym balls.
Yeah. Just
to grab one of those that would at least not kill you when you got hit from 5 feet away. But it really is. It's something that if I had the resources, I'd bring it back in a heartbeat.
How do you educate your parents and talk to them about the benefits of training on a gym floor? I know that I've had parents in here complain when their club team trains on gym floors, and I tell them that's the first thing that I would do if I ever go back into team training. I want at least one night throughout the winter on a gym floor.
Right. It's a delicate balance, and it's something you pick up over a long period of time of working with parents. And I think Nikki Bartholomew has a great word that she uses all the time, which is it's kind of our mindset in safe space of discernment, parental discernment. So how do we work to educate for parental discernment of what is a parent decision and concern and what is a soccer concern that you really shouldn't worry about? So when you talk about character, quality, values, that's a parental concern. You should make sure that your kid is getting the right moral, ethical, coaching, communication. But unless you really know on the back end, you're putting your faith in an organization or your trust from the coaching side. So if you have questions and you want to understand, then ask the questions. But if you're just going to sit there and look at what everyone else is doing and say, well, that's what I want to do, then you're not really willing to learn and understand. So we find a balance of communicating the reason why we do things. And that's always on the front end. It's not a thought process of, well, we're just doing this because this is the only solution we have. Right. I know for a fact that people looked at what we did in year 1 and year 2 and even going into year 3, oh, they're doing that because they have to. Or they can't do this because they don't have access to that. No, that's not always the case. Are there certain things that we are restricted from? Yeah, absolutely. Are there things that we've been blocked out of? Certainly. But those are just problems that we have to find solutions to. There are other things that are intentional decisions that we then communicate to families to say, this is why we're doing it. And in year 1, it was, we're going to train twice a week futsal for 12 weeks on a gym floor. And during those 12 weeks, 1 day out of the week was going to be on turf. At the beginning, it was, well, they can't get turf fields. We had plenty of access to turf fields. Mm-hmm. We wanted to do futsal for the very reason of we still had, at the time, really young teams that need to be on the ball. They need to be on the ball a lot. Yeah. So 4v4, 3v3, 2v2, 1v1 futsal, you're on the ball a heck of a lot more. Tighter space, faster pace, you're increasing the fitness. You don't need a big space to be running. We're not talking about tactical training in the middle of the winter with 11-year-old kids, and talking really soccer principles of first defender, second defender, third defender, which is 1v1, 2v2, 3v3.
Exactly.
Which is, you can do that in 10 feet. So for us, that's where we get into the communication part to say it's not a casual pickup. It's meant to be there because this is the tool that we have. Now, if we had a futsal facility, people might understand it better because you're not just in a gym and throwing things around. Right. But at the same time, most futsal facilities everywhere else are either old gym floors, concrete floors, or sport courts. So it is what it is.
I think a lot of parents also have the mentality of like, well, we need a full field to train on. No, you do not. Right. No, you don't. When I first opened this place, I got a kick out of watching some coaches train out of here because a lot of coaches don't know how to deal in tight spaces or like run a quality session in tight spaces. And it's like, that's where most of your sessions should be, right. Is because the game is faster in here than it will ever be on an 11v11 field. That's why futsal works. Right. That's why the old indoor system works. That's why 5v5 in here works. Right. Because that's why rondos work.
Exactly.
Because it's faster than anything that you're going to experience in 11v11.
When we were in here, it was February. Mm-hmm. It was pretty heavy.
Tuesday nights, snow. Right?
Yes. And I had looked up and I was like, oh, there's a camera in here. I should have asked if he could record the session. We had 36 kids. 36 kids in that space.
What?
All on a ball.
Love it.
Hour and a half. And they weren't little kids.
No, it's
they
probably
were 14s, 15s, 11s. And 16s. It was my 2011s, Nikki's 2010 girls, and my 2009 boys. Okay. So we had 3 teams in there and running through essentially just like 9 rounds workout type scenario where it's just you and your ball for 45 minutes. It was more than enough space. And it was, again, they were gassed based upon what they were doing because they weren't getting a break. We even look at it and talk about it. Like our U19 team this year, they've got dedicated full field time for training. But that's a whole different conversation of what they're training and what they're training for and why they're training and why they need a full 11v11 field. Right. They're not setting up to go and play 11v11 or run some passing pattern over 120 yards. It's set up so that they can go through an 11-on-0 and walk through some tactical stuff that now at 19, you should have some systems of play and some styles of play as you go to prepare for a showcase or you go to prepare to play in the USL Academy Cup. You need that time. But is it every session? No. Is it every week? No. So there's that balance. But it's funny when you do go through and it's, well, how much space do I have and what do I need? And you've got to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to play 8v8 and get after it, and great. Then we'll get you the space. But the bulk of the time, you just need enough room for 20 kids in a ball.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So year one, you had the 2013 girls, the 2011 boys.
2013 boys and 2009 boys. Yeah.
So you had 4 teams right off the jump.
Right off the jump, we had 4 teams and our U20 boys. So we really had 5.
Okay.
Within year one.
Okay.
And then last year progressed to adding the 2010 girls.
Yep.
And then this year going U10 through U19, well, U20. The academy, the true U20s, it's a weird one because you count them, but you kind of can't count them.
Yeah.
They're in a different spot.
Right.
So U10 through U19 on the boys' side, and then on the girls' side, U12, U13, U14, and then U16.
Wow.
So big jump. Big jump in numbers.
What is that? 9 teams on the boys? 8 teams on the boys?
9.
9 teams on the boys and 4 now?
Yeah, 4 with the girls.
Wow. That's good. And then you added Taylor, Ryan, Colin, and then Sean, right?
Right. And then
is Sean doing anything with the youth, or is he the
U19? So U19s, U17s, the oldest group, right? Like you put the guy that's in the college game, in the college landscape with the kids that
makes sense.
Need not. Everyone's like, oh, you put him there so he can help them get recruited. No, I put him there so that he could help prepare them for what they're going to walk into in a year.
Exactly.
So that they don't look like just another kid coming off the street and
deer in headlights.
Exactly. It wasn't like Sean's not going to help them get recruited.
No.
He's going to add guidance and direction and support.
Mm-hmm.
But the reality is he's going to prepare them for when they do get recruited to go and be successful.
Exactly.
Which is a completely separate conversation of why is Sean the right guy for that setup. It's a college coach that is building a program that I think even watching them train in the spring, they'll have some success this year, more than they had last year. I mean, he had a good run in year one. But he'll train players to be prepared for what they need to do to be competitive on an individual basis.
And I like how you said that about why he's there, and it's like, oh, so he could help him get recruited. I think parents and players put way too much expectations on clubs and their coaches for the recruitment process.
100%.
I've worked with guys in the past that said, I'm not helping you recruit because if you screw me over, that college coach is never going to talk to me again, right, and never going to get another player.
Right.
So I think parents...
The college thing, and I'll put the caveat, and you know this as well as anyone, the girls' side and the boys' side is very different.
Of course, especially here.
So it's always hard even sometimes to talk to make sure people know you're not making a blanket statement across the board.
Right.
And I know that I've upset people with this thought process, but it is what it is. Like, learn to be uncomfortable. It's what we tell our players. You got to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
The college landscape now is different than it was 10 years ago, which is different than it was 20 years ago on the boys' side. The girls' side is close. It's different, but it's still relatively close to what it was 10 years ago.
Yep.
The girls' side's going to change. It's going to change.
Yes, it is.
The fact that you can genuinely look at the blondie over on the women's side and see the number of U.S. representation slipping every year, and now seeing women's college coaches going to international showcases, you're going to see a change. And again, a little bit from the guy side, yeah, that shift happened pretty quickly because you have a much larger international pool of players.
Right.
Girls' side, it's growing.
Yep.
So that will eventually start to, the dynamics will change without a doubt. You'll get those girls that grew up watching Marta now that are Brazilians that want to come to the U.S. because now they have a pro league and they have a pro system and this is how they can get in. The guy side, it's different. So when we talk even with our 2010s, and I mean, we have a college recruiting seminar. I shouldn't say college recruiting seminar. We have a college admission seminar on Tuesday. Okay. For our entire club.
Good.
And by entire club, that goes down to U10. Someone goes, that's crazy. Like, why would you do that with a 10-year-old kid? And not going to lie, the first time that the admissions group said, well, we work with young kids, I was like, well, why? But you have to ask that question, well, why? and they break it up, and they'll walk through and say, people get overwhelmed from an admissions perspective, not from college recruitment. This is an admissions counseling group that Peter brought on for us as a resource. They know that by the time you become a sophomore, junior, like it's overwhelming to understand how to even pick a school, how to pick a major, how to go through the process, the financial aid process, which continuing to change for families. So at 10, what do you talk about? Well, you talk about how to find things that you like, what you should be paying attention to when you're in school, what subjects do you like to study? So now as a 7th or 8th grader, and you have the opportunity to take advanced or honors courses, or you're setting up your Regents calendar in high school, you know which courses that you should take for your long-term progress into college and the ones that you don't need to take. So now you're not sitting there as a senior going, I took way too many difficult courses and I didn't need to take AP finance because I'm not going into finance, but I took it to get the credit and now it's not really benefiting me. That's the guidance that they're going to provide. So it was a good learning tool for me because I just looked at them like, oh, it should be sophomores and up, and they learn how to do. No, it's actually, let's talk to the younger families about how to do course selection in high school. I'm like, it's actually a pretty good tool to have.
Absolutely.
So we're starting that with all the kids on Tuesday. But from an overarching college side, when you talk to the girls, they get recruited at a younger age. They get seen at a younger age. There's more opportunities for them. There's just more competition for their services. So it's a little bit different. And here, thankfully, locally, we've got 3, if you throw in Bonaventure, 4 Division I teams, 2 Division II teams, and 2 Division III teams. So you've got everybody at least represented. On the boys' side, it's a completely different animal, right? Like, there's only 210 Division I college programs.
Exactly.
And it's getting smaller.
Yep.
You have roughly 250 at D2 and a few more at D3. And again, part of what I learned as a kid and learning of what you don't know what you don't know until you learn that you don't know it. Even being in the college game as a coach, you think you know it, and then you start talking to people and you're like, okay, I need to do my own research and have conversation. So I've been the benefit of being able to work, and I just got back from New Hampshire. I worked their residential boys camp for a week. I did NC State's boys camp at the end of June, and this is my 3rd year of doing UNH's camp. But
you just go to the college camps and work them.
Yeah,
I like that.
So for me, UNH, I went to the University of New Hampshire.
Okay.
So it was kind of like a natural call to Mark Hubbard 3 years ago. My boys were finally at the age where I was like, okay, like I used to go to Syracuse University overnight camp from the time I was 8 years old till whenever, and loved it. So it was very much like I want my kids to experience the same thing. There's not a lot of those. Actually, there's none around here. Let's be honest. There's no residential camps. Syracuse doesn't do one anymore. Niagara doesn't do one. UB,
they're gone.
They're gone. So I looked. I'm like, well, UNH does it. So I'll call Mark and see if I can. It was closed. Can I get the boys? He's like, you want to come and work? And I'm like, yeah. So I went up, worked it. The boys attended it. But straight away, you're having your coaches meeting at the end of the night, and I'm sitting in a room with their entire staff, assistant at Temple, head coach at New England College, head coach at Holy Cross, Skidmore's assistant. You're just surrounded by college coaches, which then just opens up conversation. I'm a person that asks a lot of questions. So I just started firing off questions. My first question was, what do you think about soccer in Western New York? I wanted to know. And they were like, well, Mike, you don't have to beat around the bush. Just tell me. Just tell me straight up what your opinion is. And the response I got was, look at my roster. And I went, okay. Pull out my phone. He goes, do you see anybody recruited from anywhere in your area? I said, no. He goes, well, that's what I think about it. And I was like, okay, now let's have a real, in-depth conversation. Let's talk through that beyond just the anecdote of I don't recruit kids from your area. And mind you, I won't go into who it is, but it's a school that's in our vicinity of Western/Central New York, who has, we call it, a preconceived notion on what players from Western New York are. And from when you really dive into it, he starts going through it, and I'm like, oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, it makes sense. Like everything you just said, although it's harsh, is the truth, not competitive. We're not competitive as individuals. We're usually pretty good technically, pretty good. You know, our best of our best are good.
Yep.
Mentality-wise, we're not competitive. Or from the bigger side, we're not ready to fight and play through the difficulties of understanding what it takes to be competitive at a Division I school. And so it was very much driven then to go and look at, you know, how this group is doing over here. He goes, I'm not talking about results. I'm talking about competitiveness, which
individual competitiveness,
which then we rolled into a whole, which again, I've been last 2 summers, I've learned so much just from what people are looking at and why they're bringing in the international kids. And now going to the NIL and cutting the rosters to 28 is going to, for most schools, is going to make it even more difficult. Like conversation 3 weeks ago, talking about the 28 rule, and they're going to end up with 31 because of the grandfather rule with some of their kids. But he's like, it makes it really, really difficult now to take a flyer on a kid that you really like you think he's a good player, but you know he needs at least a year to physically mature. He needs at least that year to maybe grow. How do you do that now? How do you do that in a system where you can only have 28 guys? There's no reentry on substitution. So now, you know, giving that freshman 5 minutes in the first half just to give your senior a brief, you're not doing that anymore. Like, that's gone. So the college game is changing. So what those guys are looking for is changing. And it's understandable why they're willing to go, I have a job. My job went from 20 years ago developing young men and developing young women to now I got to win games. It's not even I'm developing people to maybe have a chance to play in the MLS, or maybe I got to win games. That's what a college coach's job is now, is to win games.
Right.
And you win, you get more money. You get more money, you get better players. So if you have a choice, and this has been said multiple times, if I have a choice between a 20-year-old who is got 2 years of eligibility, maybe 3, but has been in a pro system and fizzled out, and can come here on some funding from the country that they're coming from, because people don't really understand that one, is you got a lot of European countries that pay for schooling for their citizens
to come over
here and pay, so you can get kids on a little bit less than what you might have to get a kid from the States, because he's getting literally their own government aid.
Right.
Why wouldn't you take that kid, you know, and run it up? And if you start looking down the levels, you've got the D3 and D2 schools doing it now. It's like the one and done for basketball almost on this side.
Right.
Some of those coaches know I'm bringing in the kid for a year. I'm going to go and find that gem from Argentina who's going to come here, give me one good year. My program's going to have a great year. He's going to get picked up, go somewhere else. And then all it's going to do is open the door for the next kid to come in, because so-and-so transferred from Iowa Western Community College to Virginia. Like, Moises Bombito is an incredible story. I don't know if you know who Moises Bombito is. So Moises is a Canadian kid. Grew up in Montreal.
Okay.
Didn't start playing soccer until somewhere in his high school years. Pretty good playing for youth clubs in Montreal. Ends up, if you look at his profile, it'll say, like, he played at the University of Montreal, whatever that really means in Canada, because they have university sports, but it's not college
not like
sports.
here. You're right.
So he transfers to Iowa Central Community College. Plays 1 year. I mean, absolutely rips it up. Goes to UNH. Transfers to UNH. I think he was there for only a year as well. 3rd overall pick in the draft. Goes to Colorado. Blows it up in Colorado in the MLS All-Star game. Plays in, gets called up to Canadian national team. Plays last year in the Copa America. He's in I don't remember if it was in the All-Star game for the MLS or if it was in Copa America. He got marked by the pace, the data analytics, fastest player on the field. He's in Nice, played in the Champions League. Like, kid picked up soccer in high school. Mm-hmm. No one knows who he was. Went to Iowa Central Community College, 1 year of NCAA, Colorado, playing in France, probably going to play in the World Cup here in 2026.
Wow.
But there's kids like that on the international side that there's a lot of those that just flow in and flow out. And on the American side, it hurts our players. it's a barrier up. Like there's been, I know in the last couple of episodes, you've talked about U.S. soccer getting involved in
College soccer. Right.
There's a lot of conversation. There's been, so I worked at UNC Charlotte for 2.5 years on the men's side. And first year John was with John Tart. John was great. Second year was with Jeremy Gunn. Jeremy's now at Stanford and has won a couple of national championships, and probably at some point will be an MLS coach. Although I would think pressure-wise, Stanford's probably a better job. They started talking back in 2007, and it was Sasha Sorosky at Maryland that wanted to shift to a 10-month season.
Yep.
Right, like full calendar year. It would always go through, and somebody would always knock it down. I think now there's some real conversation, especially in the ACC and Big Ten in particular, about pulling away and rolling into, I would guess, the USL in some capacity, and playing as a full international calendar, either as League Two or as League One teams in some way, or their own division of that ecosystem, because it would make absolute sense for them. They could maintain exactly how they operate. They can go full year. They can run their own calendar. They can do their own stuff, and then be sanctioned within a structure to move players in and out. Like I do think that at some point that could happen, which it's not going to be every school. You're not going to get 210 Division I programs. They're not going to do that. You know, your Ivy Leagues, your Patriot Leagues, those schools aren't moving to that. It's going to be your big-time athletic programs that have the funding and the ability to meet some of those requirements of what you're going to need to do from a travel perspective. I mean, I think one of the things that has hurt the college game was the realignment of college football. Like, it's an afterthought for people in the fact of like, oh, it's college football, oh, it's realignment. Like, you're taking these Olympic sports that aren't revenue driving and asking them to travel across the country,
exactly.
And it changes their budget. Like, it's ridiculous.
Stanford is in the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Right.
They can throw a rock into the Pacific Ocean. It doesn't make sense.
No. So you're playing half your games, you know, and it's even talking to one of the guys who are like, oh, I got to go out to Colorado. We're playing Denver. And he goes, I learned my lesson a couple of years ago. We went out, we played Denver and Air Force in the same weekend.
Yeah, elevation and stuff.
Yeah, he goes, first game, no problem. Denver, like, it was a good game. Denver's fourth in the country. And playing,
Denver's very good.
You know, lose 2-0. We're happy with it.
Right.
No issues. Second day, we go into recovery, and we're playing Air Force, and so now we're on Air Force's campus. It's like 15 minutes in, my guys are looking at me going, Coach, I can't breathe. Something's wrong. And he goes, we got run off the field the next day. He goes, never again am I going out to play 2 games in Colorado. Because if I'll go out there, I'll play Denver, or I'll play Air Force. I'm not playing them both in the same weekend.
Right.
But that became a product of he's now got to travel outside of his region for games because everybody within his region is in a different conference. So they've got more conference games where they have too much travel, and so those local regional rivalries, some of them had to go away because you can't fit them into your schedule. But
right.
Like you're increasing the cost of travel for these schools. That why? Like, what you want to do it for football and basketball, fine, but at some point soccer should have sat down and been like, this is our conference. You know, Syracuse
right.
is in, call it whatever you want, call it the Big East too, but make it Syracuse, Albany, like, but bottle it up. But that really started, I think, the first part of like, okay, now this is going to become the haves and the have-nots of Division I sports, was the realignment of college football.
I think it's good. That's exactly what's going to end up happening, is that we are going to have D1, and like you said, it's going to be like Big Ten and maybe like the ACC or whatever, and then it's going to be everybody else.
Yeah,
that's what we're headed to.
Yeah,
I can see most schools getting rid of athletic scholarships.
Oh yeah, I mean it's interesting. I work at DUville now, and you know, our president does things on like the reverse of what you would think. She's adding sports, and people are like, that's counterintuitive. No, she knows that brings students, which increases enrollment, which also increases student life experience, which increases retention. So it's a great thought process. You just have to be smart about which ones you're bringing on, that you're not breaking the bank. You know, what do we have facilities that we can utilized for two sports? What are sports that don't require athletic scholarships at Division II, or we can eventually build to being a scholarship sport at Division II? Like it's a good thought process, but yeah, it's tough. I mean, talking about tangible things, losing UB men's soccer also, I think, takes us. I hate saying it backwards. It's not the right word. We're stuck. Not too much has changed, if I'm really being honest. From being a 16-year-old kid, 17-year-old kid when I left to go to school, not much has changed. Not much has changed in area leadership. Not much has changed in facilities. Not much has changed in thought process.
Right.
Like it's still closed off. I can be accused of that too. It's not meant to be attacking. It's a little bit of Buffalo getting in the way of Buffalo, right? Like it's a Buffalo thing. We kind of get in our own way sometimes. And I think for the progress of this sport, we've done some things that we've gotten in our own way.
Right.
And some of it was not necessarily always our actual doing it. Using UB men's soccer hurt. That hurt. Again, it's a tangible element that still, we didn't have a pro team. You still had a UB men's game to go to. And yes, you can go and from the women's side, go and watch the women's game. And I'll be real careful when I say this. It's the same sport. It's not the same game at the highest levels. No. It's different. Like,
yep.
It's different. Even watching Brazil-Colombia the other night.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the same sport.
It's just
it's the same principles, but it's different.
Yep.
And so what you're watching there is there's different lessons to be learned. So people that are like, I coach girls and boys the same way. Okay. Like, not even from a social perspective how you can make that statement, but
right.
You can. You hit an age that the game truly does change. Like, again, talk about odd experiences. If I were to tell you that I grew up playing with Abby Wambach, what would you say to me?
It's pretty good. I mean,
she was on my club team until we were 15. So I had 3 girls on my boys team until I was 15.
For somebody like that, I think she should play.
Right.
I think she should play with boys.
All 3 of those girls represented the youth national team, went on Division I.
Who are the other 2?
Beth McNamara.
Okay.
Sarah Popper, and then Casey Zimney. So really it was 4, but Sarah was like in and out. She was a guest player.
Yeah.
But they were really kind of like they were a part of that last generation where boys were still, like with girls, good girls were still playing on boys teams through the early ages of high school before it really, like, physically you start to see a massive separation.
Right.
And I do think that as well has maybe led to why we're slipping on the women's side, because we had to have, at an early age, we had to have the break. Like, we had to have the break at now 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really need to have the break at 8 years old?
No.
Probably not. It's the same teaching things that need to be taught. They can be taught at the same time, and they can play. Again, talking back about our own group, Nikki and I, we play each other all the time in training. Like, not for 60 minutes. It's like, okay, as we finish today, what were you working on? I was working on this. I'm going to work on this. Okay, great. You know what? You want to play for the last 20 minutes, and we'll take a couple of stop breaks, and we'll talk, and we'll get through it. Yeah, and we've done it with the younger boys playing the older girls.
Yep.
That was something that I did as a kid. Like, we were U13, U14, non-existent club anymore, Germania Soccer Club. Probably went away mid-2000s, like early 2000s.
Yeah.
Again, Tassie had a team. Teams that were winning the regionals, competing for national, girls that were all playing at a high level through college, like every one of them. Every one of them will go on and play in college, and this was 25 years ago. We would play against them and train with them. Same thing. They would be on half the field. They'd run their training session. We run our training session, and then we would go and we play. And, looking back, you'd have, again, why would we do that? Well, technically, they're cleaner, they're faster because they're older, and they've been doing it longer. Physically, though, a 13, 14, 15-year-old boy is probably about there with your best athletes, with, if not a little bit ahead of even a 16, 17-year-old girl. So their benefit by playing against bigger, faster, stronger athletes.
Yeah.
The bigger, faster, stronger athletes are benefiting from playing against technically more superior players and having to think the game because they're fast enough to move the ball away
before
from
you
you
even
before
get there.
you even get there, no matter how fast you are with your feet physically.
Yeah.
So you're having to think the game quicker. So there's a benefit. Like, you see it all the time. Oh, it happened not too long ago. Is it Switzerland? Switzerland lost to like a U15 boys academy team.
Exactly.
I was one of those U15s that played our women's team that beat them handily. Would you look at it and be like, oh my gosh, you were so much better? No. Like they technically waxed us.
Right.
But we were just faster.
Exactly.
So we could pull off some things that they couldn't pull off.
Exactly.
And even able to hit a 60-yard ball on a driven ball on a dime. There is a physical difference of what can and can't be done sometimes. So there's some things that you have an advantage.
Right.
But you have to learn how to work through that. And so, again, that's why I think girls and boys should be training together to a certain age, and then you separate once you get a little bit older, and there's some differences. But like, kind of going back into it, it's a different game.
Yeah.
So you watch it differently, and really even from my side, when I watch the women's game now, it's far more impressive to see what they do on the ball. Not here in the U.S. What has happened globally?
Spain.
Yeah.
Even France, England is excellent.
You're seeing the culture of
Japan.
those countries come out in their women's teams no different than they come out in their men's teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's although it might have a different shade, it's the same culture. Like it's the same culture.
Exactly, and that's why people don't understand. It's not. Everybody's like, well, if our best athletes, our best female athletes are playing soccer, what's their excuse?
Yeah,
We're getting caught like this. It's because it's the same culture. You nailed it. Because these girls are still waking up and watching Man United or whatever with their mom and dad, and it's in their blood.
Yeah, it's I do not subscribe to that we are in the golden generation of U.S. soccer.
Oh my God!
We aren't even close.
Now you're singing my song.
Like we aren't. We aren't close. Like I live in the very minority, and I think we're gonna disagree on this. Claudio Reyna was well ahead of his time.
We are gonna disagree.
I'm not talking about Gio. Claudio. He's a guy that was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like, if you really look at his career outside of U.S. soccer, and I'm not talking about UVA and what he did there.
Right.
First, I think he's the first international player to captain Rangers. He's without a doubt the first American, but he played for Man City, played for Sunderland, played for Rangers, and not in a bygone era of like, oh, he was a scrub. He was a first-team player every week, and he had an impact. He did not have nearly the same impact on the U.S. side. Never. And that was like, was it systematic? Was it the players around him? It doesn't really matter. But for me, that golden generation was like 2001 through 2000, and if you want to stretch it that far, 2014. Really, probably 2006 to 2014 if you got real specific.
Right.
Like Tim Howard.
Yep.
Like talking about our four goalkeepers at the time. Tim Howard, Casey Keller, Brad Friedel, and Brad Guzan.
Yep. All
four guys had extensive careers in the EPL.
Mm-hmm.
People like Tim Howard, yeah, he's a media personality now, and he does the Sunday mornings on NBC. But like, I played for Manchester United in the Champions League against Kaká. He played against. I mean, the guy played, and he was good.
Yep.
And he moved on and had an exceptional career at Everton.
Yep.
Friedel, Casey Keller, like even at that time, like how do you pick who's going in net on the U.S. side?
Yeah.
You're taking the hot hand.
I would love to talk to Bruce Arena about that someday.
Like it's
like what went into that.
Like it's
choosing Friedel in 02.
Right, like it's a nuts sequence just of you had four guys to pick from. Now we're looking at going, our number one is on loan to the Revolution, and it's not disrespect to the MLS, but he went to Arsenal, never saw the field. Went to Nottingham, got dropped. Like, and now he's just shipped off to Lyon, and now he's in New England.
This past weekend, I came up in Michigan as a goalkeeper trainer, and that's kind of how I got my foot in the door of all these places. And one of my mentors, I was going to have him on the podcast as well, and it fell through. But he played with Casey Keller in youth national teams, and he would talk about that. And the topic came up of, why are we all of a sudden behind in goalkeepers? Because we used to be one of the best. Now it's like Brazil. Brazil's like the best at developing goalkeepers. And he brought up, it's like, because everybody has to have even playing time. We don't, like, back in the day, in our day, the starter was the starter and the backup was the backup. Well, now it's split time or every other game and all of that, and
it goes back to the competitive statement about the college thing. Like, the piece of why do kids play now? Like, if you ask a kid why do they play, someone might just be like, "Oh, because I want to get a college scholarship."
Yes.
Playing for the wrong reason.
Yep.
Like, sorry, it's
my parents got me into this.
Right. Like,
another wrong reason.
I do miss the GPS days.
Okay.
And I'll explain why.
Okay.
Right? Like, so for me, and I don't know how
you
much
coached
you know
with
like
GPS, right?
Yes, but no. Yes, but no.
Okay.
So like when I had both of my boys, as much as I was a coach, like I coached I've been coaching now for, I'm going to be 45 in 2 weeks. I've been coaching
Happy
for
birthday.
like 31 years.
Yep.
No, not that long.
20
something, right? I started working camps at 16.
Yep.
So my first foray into coaching, like really coaching, not just running camps and clinics with people, was at Seacoast United in New Hampshire while I was in school. My mentor at the time was Tony Lepore. Tony's now the director of U.S. Boys Scouting. Mm-hmm. So learn a lot from Tony, right?
Yeah.
Tony at the time I had been picked to play, like the precursor to the PDL was the U20 League in New Hampshire, the team, and then the Vermont Voltage and Brad Agu. So I was floating around those guys a little bit. Then when I came to Rochester to play for the Rhinos, I used to help Doug Miller do training and just go off and train teams. Right?
Okay.
Like Doug knew him from the locker room with the Blizzard and from sneaking into training sessions and training with them when I legally probably wasn't supposed to at 16 and 17 at Sportsplex. So, but just Carlos Arguero was the coach at the time, and I knew him from when I was little. So obviously my uncles would be like, "Oh, Ryan's coming today." They'd be like, "All right, fine." But anyway, so coached a little bit with Doug in Rochester, and then went to Kansas City for a year, and then went to Charlotte, and then finished playing in Charlotte with the Eagles. And down in Charlotte, I started coaching with Charlotte Soccer Association, which eventually became, it was South Charlotte Soccer Association, which is now like the biggest club in Carolina. Right?
Yep.
Same guys, Brad's still running it, same group of guys, but that's where I was coaching in Charlotte, and then moved to a smaller club that then got absorbed back in, but was there, and I coached until, actually all 3 years I was at UNC Charlotte, I coached as well. So yeah, I coached almost 6 years down in Charlotte.
Okay.
So a lot of experience down there with those clubs. Stopped coaching the year I got married. It was a promise I made to my wife. I'm going to take the year off so that we could have our first year together. Mm-hmm. She's a nurse, and she was a nurse, and so the schedule was, when we were dating, amazing schedule, right? Like she worked the night. She had the night shift 7 to 7. So I'd go to work during the day. We'd meet for dinner real quick. She'd go to work. I would go on the field until 10 o'clock at night. Come home. I'm a night owl. We'd be on the phone. We'd talk. I might meet her for her lunchtime at like 12 a.m. I'd go back. I'd go to sleep. She'd finish her day. She'd come home. She'd go to bed, and I'd start the day again. But when we got married, it's like, no, we need to, you're going to go 9 to 5. I'm going 9 to 5. We need to spend time together. Well, then we had our first boy, Declan.
Yep.
So you kind of go through it, and you jump in.
2011?
2011, yeah.
Okay.
So you jump in here, there, and you help out with some sessions. And I still help with the Charlotte Eagles. I would go and jump in every now and again with Coach Steffens and do some high school stuff. But I really was like, I don't think I want to coach anymore. I just want to be a dad. So when we moved back to Buffalo in 2014, I was like, you know what, maybe I should coach. Like, I'm back in Buffalo, I should coach. And be very careful when I say this too. I went to some old friends, colleagues that I knew, and I was like, I'm gonna see what I can do. And they like, yeah, you want to come out? Yeah, awesome. I went and ran a session, and it was just me running a session on behalf of someone. And it was, again, supposed to be the top tier of what we had. And I went home and was like,
We're behind.
Wow. Like, it's not where I just came from, right? Like, and the first thing I go through is, did I just screw my kids over from a soccer perspective? Like, I'm talking about a 3-year-old, right? A 3-year-old.
I get it.
So you get into that process, and then I went and sat in a meeting with the group, and I remember I called my dad. I got into my car, called my dad. I'm like, Dad, nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. Like, I can look back now to great reverence. As a kid, I was like, what are you doing to me? But I can look back, and now I understand my father, right? Like, my father was in it. He helped build North French Soccer Complex because he was at Amherst. And then they changed the rule. I grew up playing at Amherst Soccer Association, lived in Kenmore. Changed the rule. I was grandfathered in because I was outside the town.
Yeah, because you have to be in Amherst.
And then it switched, and so then we went to Delaware. And I became like a club nomad. I was at Amherst as a kid, then Delaware for 2 or 3 years, and then we were part of Germania. And then
where was Germania?
Just here, like literally, like we train at UB, we train at ECC.
Just everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Okay.
And then went to Rochester and started playing for the Mavericks, which eventually became RNY, and that's where I played with Casey and the other girls because that's where they were from.
Right.
But at 16, I started playing in Syracuse. I played with the Blitz, which was the precursor to SDA. And my junior and senior year of high school, I played in Canada. I played for Club Roma. Like, I really didn't play around here all the time. But as a kid, I'm like, now I look back, I'm like, I get it. Like, my dad was exposing me to everything, different cultures, different communities, different systems, different styles, different people, different coaches, different voices. So I already had this innate love of the game from having access to locker rooms and pro stuff.
Right.
But then started seeing it from an education standpoint completely differently because I wasn't just on like this path. I was on a joke. I'm like, I took Ryan's path. It was different. And when we came back here and I'm telling him nothing's changed, he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's the same thought process. It's the same reason you moved me. It's the same reason that I went other places to play. And he's like, I get it. So fast forward like a year, and I threw Declan in with Dave Steffen and Clarence, the First Touch program, because my dad had coached Alex Steffen, Dave's son. Mm-hmm. So we knew about it, and I was like, oh, it's easy. It's epic. I live in Amherst.
Yeah.
Drive and drop them off. I walk into the back fun center to go look at the go-karts with my younger son, my 2013. Like, we're going to go look at the go-karts. I see this guy running a session in the boarded field. He's got a bun in his hair. And I'm like, I got to stop and watch this. Like, go look at the go-karts. Like, you know. So I'm watching. I'm seeing these kids' smiles on their faces, just buzzing. He's super high energy, energetic, bouncing off the wall.
So Brian?
Mm-mm. And then he goes into like real discipline mode and sits a kid down. I'm like, these kids are like 5 years old. He's getting after it a little bit. Like, this is great. It's Aitor Fuentes.
Aitor.
So I'm like, I'm going to come back next week and watch. See if this was like a one-off. Is this like just, this is your Saturday, so you're come back, I watch him again. I'm like, all right, next week, Declan's coming over here after First Touch, because I'm not going to pull him out of something. He was enjoying it. So I talked to Aitor after the session. I'm like, can I bring my son? He's like, yeah, bring him over. Bring him over. Declan falls in love with Aitor. And as much as I'm a soccer household in a soccer family, it was Aitor's passion and love for the game that sparked my son's passion and love for the game. As much as it's me and he's getting it, it was his interaction with his own personal relationship with his coach is what made him fall in love. And so those early days for me, I know it wasn't early days with GPS, but it was early days for me. That club was nothing but passion for the sport, and it was so infectious to all of those kids. Like, that entire group of 2009s, 2011s, 2010s, even a little bit of the 2012s, because they were kind of the last group before COVID hit. Like, they had just a connection for the game that went beyond what I'm like. It was their own connection. They're playing it because they love to play, not because they see some
college scholarship.
Exactly.
Yep.
Like, they just want to play. They did, and that was, I without a doubt attributed a lot to the group of guys that were there. Lloyd, Alistair, Fabio, Diogo, and Aitor in the early days. Like, it's fantastic. And so I look back at that and I go, that's that love that was instilled in those kids. But I had no interest in coaching. And First year was 2000 and Declan was they were U7s. I think U7s. It was like 2018.
Yep.
I had 7 kids in a group. That it was like their first foray into that age group of we're a U8 age group, and we're gonna be a little more serious than just training once a week. We're gonna train twice a week, play some friendlies, not playing the games, but it was 8 kids. And it was great. It was I-Tour and 8 kids, and like it was amazing.
Yeah.
His sessions were great. Kids were always smiling. It was awesome. The next year, a program grows. He's got 35 kids on the field, and he had one person helping, and someone else kind of helping, and I was looking. I'm like, dude's gonna get burned out. He's not gonna have that energy to be able to share it. So I just threw a note to Alistair. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be that guy, but here's my background. I'd like to help. Like you tell me what to do, and I'll do it. So that's what I did for the first year with GPS, and then COVID hits, GPS folded, and we ended up getting into Rush. And then that's when I got more back into like, okay, I'm going to coach now again, because it was everybody kind of dispersed. And so now there was a bit more of a real need to get back involved in the game at a more committed level. My role at New Era changed, so I had more time. I wasn't traveling anymore for New Era, so it made it easier, and I could commit to being a coach, as opposed to just, I'm here to help out when I can be, and be another voice for a young guy who needed some energy support.
Yeah. It's funny because anytime I get a kid in here, and because we do the tennis ball juggling and the mini ball, and if I see a kid that can tennis ball juggle, but it's the first time I've ever worked with them, I'm like, you ever play for I-Tour? And they're like, yep. And I'm like, I knew it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So it's it was from that side. That's why I miss it a bit. But within that, it goes back to that motivation, that competitiveness, and from our side, we'll even go back to the academy. What we're trying to do, not saying that's the right way or the only way. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of ways to accomplish things,
right?
But there's opportunities and some thought process and some basic principles that I do think really do help guide success. If you want to play at the collegiate level on the girl side, and this is not a knock, right? Like we put out a lot of girls that commit in year 1. I was told by a local coach that through their own research, and I haven't validated it, but through their own research, that right now we're close to 70% transfer rate after your freshman year on the women's side. Why? Right? Was it the wrong school? Okay. Was it the wrong system? In terms of, I don't even mean the wrong playing system for you, but was it the wrong environment for you as a person, as a school? Mm-hmm. Or was there a coaching change and you needed to make an actual change? Like, understandable, you went to play for somebody, they leave, you need to leave. How many of them leave, though, purely because they didn't play? Or they're told you're not going to play, or you need to do this to be able to play, right? Like, getting there on the boys' side, but it's a heck of a lot quieter because we don't have as many boys that commit to schools at any level. And, you had talked before about going to college and in the piece, like, I hate the word platform.
Yeah.
When someone says, well, platforming, I'm not on a platform. Platform is where you put trophies. Right? Like, platform is where you showcase things. We're not a platform for anything. I don't play in a platform. We're here to create individual human beings that can be successful in life as a professional, whether it be as a garbage man or as a professional soccer player. It doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. There's a whole bunch in between that you have to develop characteristics. And along the way, you're hoping that you can create, instill, and truthfully fuel a love for the game so that at 45 years old, like, you're still in it.
Yeah.
Not just to be in it because you can collect a paycheck, but because you love it. Right? Like, I've been accused from the start of this, I'm doing this for my kids so I can control my kids' journey. No. Like, is there an element of it of, do I want to do it so I can support and create a better situation for my kids' experience? Well, yeah, that would be foolish for me to say that doesn't take part of it. But the reality is I do it because it was done for me, and I can do it for other people. Like,
also, and I think a lot of folks here don't see necessarily what you see or what I see because they've only been here.
It's a great point. It's a great point.
You've been somewhere, a few places. You've been a few places that are way different. I come from a place that is way different. And you said it earlier about how Buffalo gets in the way of Buffalo, or, you know, when I went back home and saw some of my old colleagues, and a lot of them are all over the country now, right? I had a really good chat and a really good time with a guy that works for LAFC now. And he was talking about what we used to call the Michigan Mafia. Whenever we would go to an SCA convention or a USC convention, there would be a Michigan Mafia. And it didn't matter which club you coached for. There was a camaraderie because it was like we were Michigan. And it would be Vardar guys with Wolves guys. And it would be Waza guys and everything. And RSC guys. And we'd all travel together. I could never see Buffalo doing that.
No, it's the ideal utopian scenario, but it takes, even for me, it takes setting some pride aside, being more than just humble, but also being open to saying, yeah, maybe what I was doing does need to change, or maybe I can learn by doing something different, or maybe my skill set isn't really right for what I've been doing. It's right somewhere else. It's a long task. Like there's a lot from a Buffalo side, from seeing other things, and it sometimes is heartbreaking. Like, if I'm being real transparent, I go away after the week of camp at residential camp in New Hampshire. I go to a lake. We go with family. It's like our I don't want to think or talk about soccer for the week because I need to reset. It's an emotional side where you get into it, and it's like it's somewhat heartbreaking. I mean, there is a million things that could be doing. It's great, but it's what are the simple things. You talked about ODP with Charisma and with Alexi, right?
Yep.
I can only speak to Region 1 recently because that's all I've been exposed to now. We, around here, again, I'll go Central Western New York, have killed ODP for our kids. Killed it. For no real reason. No real reason other than the arrogance of clubs. I'll say it like that, right? Like, ODP was an open system. It was the precursor to the DA and to everything else. Like, if you really just bucket that down, we missed we missed 2 Olympics in a row. 2024.
I think we missed 3.
Is it 3 now? 2020. I can go back to a specific date of a game that I watched. Like, I watch a lot of random games.
Right.
Okay. Like random stuff. I watched the Olympic qualifier. We had to win. It was the U23s, and we lose. And we score a late goal. Kid runs, picks the ball, goes back, and I'm watching he's the captain. He's fiery. He's been fiery the whole game. He's flying. He's playing like the 6, kind of an 8, all over the place. So I'm Googling him. Like, he's the only kid on here that played college soccer. The only one. All the rest of them were in an academy, somewhere else.
Or in the MLS academy.
Or in the MLS academy. Yep. He's the only one that had done like a few years here and then. I'm like, okay. Guy knows how to play for something beyond himself. He's playing for the badge that's on his chest because he's fighting for it. The rest of these guys are here playing, and they're good players. But I think that has become the symptom of our entire system. Like, that is the thing that we're not addressing across, and I'll make it as a blanket statement across the country. We've got kids that are playing to be showcased and to get to something rather than just playing the game to win, to have pride in the crest that they wear. Now, again, that's a massive blanket statement, and I get that, and I'm not begrudging everybody, but if you really start to look at the difference between the international kid that's coming in taking the collegiate spot and the high schooler, it's because that guy knows how to play for something.
Exactly. And I think, did it change when we all focus on development versus winning, when that stupid phrase came up? Mm-hmm. I can't stand that phrase. Because why can't you do both?
Winning's part of development. You have to learn how to win and lose. Like,
exactly.
I could go down a whole rabbit hole of, you look at, again, going back to the DA system. The DA started in what, 2007? 7, right? Yep. the end of our golden generation. That's where I was going with that comment before.
No kidding.
If you look at what has been produced, we're producing extremely technical and crafty players and guys that are going and playing at really high levels, but they're mid-level, high-level guys.
It's that, and who would you name? Pulisic. Well, his dad was a hell of a player and a coach in indoor soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, what about Giorena? Well, his dad was one of the best players in U.S. history.
Berhalter.
Oh, well, what about Berhalter? What about Weah? What about
Yeah,
It's like, guys, there's a reason why Declan is one of the best players in Western New York at his age. You know why? Because his dad played. Because his grandfather played. Declan's a third, maybe fourth? Third?
No, he's third.
He's a third-generation soccer player.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah, which
this isn't like complicated.
No, it's the asterisk next to every name that you mentioned. They've got somebody else in their setup. Like the last, I'm a huge Clint Dempsey fan. Like,
pretty sure he was a first generation player.
He was.
Yeah.
But he's a guy to me that I feel like you want to talk about a culture for the U.S. That's your guy that you should look to say that really is U.S. soccer. Like, grit's not the right word. Because I know that you don't love the word grit.
I don't get.
But he's got fight. He's got
something, man.
And he was technical. He was smart enough as a player to know which of his physical gifts to use and when. But he never backed down from a fight. And I look at that group of players in 2014. Like, was it our best 24 guys that went to Brazil? No. But it was the right 24 guys that went to Brazil.
Right.
And it took Tim Howard standing on his head, but that was against Belgium's golden generation. Like,
yeah, exactly.
The comparisons of what we've lost to, it's just not. It's not right. Like that group. I mean, I can look back to, and it was a meaningless game. One of my highlights as a player, I scored against Tim Howard at old MetLife Stadium, like true Meadowlands Giant Stadium, preseason friendly, Rochester versus the Metro Stars. He got sold to United like weeks later, but it was like a random preseason friendly in April.
Yeah.
But I look back at that, and for me, I love it. In the back of my head, I can always be like, in a useless game, I scored against them. Now, I grew up playing against them in ODP.
We don't get that opportunity anymore.
No,
everything's closed.
Yeah.
And then how can we actually really see who's good? Because if you're in the MLS Next and you are closed system, how do you know that there's not a kid at somewhere else that's not RNY or whatever, and wow, this kid, we should really bring him in. You only get access to kids that are there, that either have the resources or show up, or that's even what they want to be a part of. Because, all right, so you hit on that. There's a massive difference, and you mentioned it again the other day about. You're always looking to get to the next spot. You're at one of the MLS Next independent academies, and you're trying to get to an MLS academy. Right.
What they're giving at an MLS academy versus what you're getting at most, not all, of the independent academies, is two different worlds. Those kids that are in those MLS academies.
It's like what you said about the men versus the women.
Correct.
It's almost a different sport.
It's a different sport.
Yeah.
Those guys at the true MLS academies are genuinely in the system being produced to see if they can make their first team. Like, that's what they're there for. Yeah. They're there to play for their first team.
Right.
So they're not worried about college. They're not worried about anything else. They're there to play for their first team. Now, I think within that system, we've got some issues, but at the end of the day, you've got kids that don't make it to their first team, and then they got to go somewhere else. And those are usually the first kids that get recruited to the bigger schools that are the American kids, right? Like Clemson can get any American kid that they want, so they don't take in a lot of internationals. They get the best of the best so that they can still be competitive because they're plucking that kid.
Some
that kid
with
play.
IU and
right. You still got those schools that have the weight to pull in still the best of the best without really having to do a heavy lift.
Yep.
Like they're not. Contrary to everyone's belief, they're not out pounding the fields looking for players. They know where they want to go. They're having the conversation with the directors. This guy's not getting picked up. We think he's a good fit. Great. Can he play this? Great. Pull him into my system. No problem. Within the MLS, though, how many of those kids are really having success transitioning from being an MLS academy burnout? And burnout's a really hard word. They don't make it to the first team. They get into college. Are they set up to be competitive? No. We use, and this comes, so my uncle's a national assessor for referees, right? So I have a lot of player-referee conversations with him. And we've talked about what it looks like reffing an MLS Next event versus Section 6 high school event.
Uh-huh.
They ref those so tight because of player safety, but they take the physicality out of the game. Now, we would go like, wow, that's purist. Yeah, that's great. But now we're creating players that don't know how to take a hit, that don't know how to give a hit, that don't know how to be physical. So when we go and play Panama with our youth teams and they're just kicking the crap out of us, we're not ready for it because we don't compete. The DA took away high school soccer. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with high school soccer.
Okay.
Is it the greatest thing in the world? No, it's not. And if anybody's like, oh, high school soccer, the level's so high. No, no, you're missing the point.
Right.
High school soccer is a place for a 14 to 18-year-old to learn how to play for something and walk in the next day and have to be held accountable for what you did on the field the night before. Because even at the club level,
you don't have that.
You don't have that. But you got to play on, I'll just go with Canisius Joe's, right? Canisius Joe's, your school expects you to win that game. And when you walk in the next day, whether it's JV versus JV or varsity versus varsity, people know the result. And you have to walk through the hall with people knowing your result from the night before as a representation of the school that they have pride in. So you take on a different weight. And it's a learning process and a part of a development process that I think now is missing for kids that play MLS Next and don't play high school.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're playing and you're training, and I'm not saying that there's not benefits to that, but like, you could have made it work to let them still play high school. Let's be real honest here. You don't think that high school coaches would have been like, so you're saying my best player is going to go and train over there, but I got him for my games? They're going to have a problem with that? Like, really?
Mm-mm.
No. They're going to be like, yes, thank you very much. I'll bring them in. I'll figure out how to make it work because it's maybe one kid per school. Maybe. I mean, we're talking about 3 or 4 kids from Buffalo really that it's impacting. So from that side, I'm like, that's a major disadvantage that our community has taken away because we don't have that club-driven system where you're really learning how to play for a badge.
Right.
But on top of it, if you're a top player, and maybe you're playing at a small size school and you're playing against a lower level than what you're used to playing, there are so many lessons for you to learn how to be competitive, right? Like, I got kicked a lot as a kid in high school. A lot. Right? Like, right, wrong, and different. It's not a victim story, but I had 2 uncles playing professionally in the town I was living and growing up. So it didn't matter if you knew me before or not. My name would hit a roster. You'd see the name. You'd make the assumption. You'd kick me. It just is what it is. Mm-hmm. So I learned to play through that. Like, it's just fine. And I do think for some kids, they get to the college level, they haven't experienced that because they're fantastic on the ball and they're technical and they avoid and everyone protects them. But then they go and they play against the 6'2" Swedish center back who's just big and physical and isn't violent but knows how to use their body. You can't compete. You can't compete because you're not behind from a soccer perspective. You're behind from a competitive perspective because you don't have a solution to that problem because you've never faced that problem before. Right? Like the tiki-taka soccer, love it. It's beautiful. Beautiful to watch. But the winning versus development thing, at some point, you have to teach kids that, hey, this isn't working for us today, so find a solution. Like, there's a solution within the game that might not be attractive, but it's a solution, and it helps you get a result.
Yeah.
But that is part of the development of developing players who can think on their feet, find a way to win, find a way to be competitive, because now when they go into the next environment, whatever that environment is, it could be BDSL on Sunday, they're going to stand out because they're going to look different, behave different, and act different. Like, it's just what it is.
I had a player in Michigan that went all the way through the academy, and then he ended up playing at Kalamazoo, which is a D3, but very good D3 school. And I remember he came out and visited me out here once, and we started talking about the DA, and he's like, I haven't won a trophy, because I coached him when he was much, much younger. He's like, I haven't won a trophy since I was 10 years old. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, because the DA, there are no trophies. There's nothing to win. No. There's nothing on the line.
No.
There's nothing, like, I've said this a few times about our ECNL girls. They can go and get smashed.
It's a showcase.
In a showcase.
It doesn't matter.
And they're like, this school is here. This school is here. They email me. I'm like, how'd the games go? It's like, well, we scored 2 goals And we lost all 3 games. I was like, oh, okay.
It goes back to that discernment comment, even trying to explain that to parents, because within it, there's that transitional phase of probably until like 15 or 16. If you're having a 10-10 season, you play 30 games, from a development standpoint, perfect. You're getting 10 games that, okay, you're getting wins out of. You're getting 10 games that you're drawing, and you're getting 10 games that you're losing. Regardless of if they're big wins, big losses, doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You've pushed yourself 10 times. You found an equal match 10 times, and you've found success 10 times. So you're getting that kind of rule of 3 to a degree of like 1 out of every 3 should be successful or difficult or even.
Right.
So that you can grow and learn. You have the success, so you feel good about yourself, which breeds your confidence to do it again. You find someone that pushes you just enough that you're uncomfortable, but you still maybe have some success and you have some acceptable learning environments. And then you have some moments where you get beat because either you didn't perform that day or you were beat by somebody better, and you move on and you learn from it and off you go. But if you step on a field and the thought process is, I'm out here today to do whatever it is that I can do, you're not playing a game. You're not playing a game. Like, my wife has always hated, I do not let the boys win at anything. And that is generationally passed down. Like, right, probably generational trauma that's been poured on me from years past of my dad being the oldest of 4 boys and so on. But I want, even at their youngest age, I want them to beat me because they beat me. Right. Not because I let them win. You're building their confidence. No, I'm not. I'm giving them a false sense of security. I'm not building their confidence. I'm not seeing if they have the motivation and the discipline to show up the next day and to fight against me again. Because if they don't want to try because they lost the first time, then the first time they hit a difficult point in their life, job, relationship, they're going to look for the security. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be uncomfortable and go, okay, this for me now is going to ignite my next phase. Like, I love both of my sons. They may go on to be professional soccer players. They may go on to be I have no idea. It doesn't matter. The lessons that they're going to learn are going to come from soccer because it's the easiest thing for me to teach those lessons through because it's how I learned. Mm-hmm. So, again, going back to that competitive side and people being competitive, you got to learn how to win. But to learn how to win, you have to learn how to lose. Like, throw around multiple athletes. Patrick Mahomes is a serial winner. He just wins.
He is super competitive
just
too.
Wins.
Yeah.
But that didn't come from not learning how to win. Like, he didn't go out there and say, okay, today you did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right? Like, Wayne Gretzky, serial winner.
Yeah.
He learned how to win. Bryson DeChambeau, Declan's gotten into golf lately, right? Which is
smart.
Awesome.
Smart.
But he likes Bryson DeChambeau. I don't know why he just picked up on it. Probably because he's on YouTube or whatever. But I was watching a clip of him, and he was talking about junior golfers. He goes, the greatest thing that I did as a junior golfer, and I was a good junior golfer at the time in like 13 or 14, was I played from the red tees. I played from the closest tees. So I learned how to play with a low score. So I was shooting -10, -11. So that mentally, I was going through it going, keep your foot on the gas, keep your foot on the gas, keep your foot on the gas. He goes, now as a pro, I'm shooting -4 one day, first round. Second round, I'm out -10 overall, and I'm not going, oh, okay, I'm -10. I got to keep my foot on the gas. And yeah, I'm sure that worked for him. It might not work for everybody, but he was artificially hitting low scores, playing from the closest tees possible to challenge his mindset so that he knew when he got to a point, he had the mental stamina not to be like, I'm at -10 and this is great and I can coast now. It was no, keep your foot on the gas. Like, go for the next one. But he was doing it because he was almost set up to basically get birdies every single hole that he was playing.
Right.
So for him, he was driving that winning mentality. And that was part of his development, right? Like, developing players isn't just you got better with the ball. What good is it to get better with the ball if it doesn't get you to beat the defender?
Right.
If you teach a kid how to ping a ball, but you don't give him the courage or her the courage to shoot to score the goal when the game's on the line, who cares? Like, I get a lot of flack from parents that I won't shout out, and for years. I mean, this goes back 20 years. Why don't you ever tell who's taking the penalty or who's taking the free kicks? Like, my kid's a good free kick taker, and he should be taking the free kicks. Same thing with girls. Oh, she's the best at free kicks. Why? I'll just say simply, in the game at this age, right? Like, how often are kids spending and by age U10 to U16, how many of them are outside practicing free kicks? None. Even the kids that I love that train all the time, they're not out there setting up a wall, hitting free kicks, bang. So no one's spending time on it. So don't tell me your kid's the best at it, right?
Right.
They may be the best ball striker of the group, and they can shoot from a distance, and they can shoot with power. But within the game, does your kid step up and walk up to the ball like they want to take it?
Exactly.
Nope. So I'm not going to call out and tell them to take it.
Yep.
Because all I've done is add pressure to them in a situation that they clearly aren't comfortable for in the moment. Like, I have one rule about penalties, and it's a soft rule. We'll call it a guideline at best. If you're the guy or girl that got fouled, you probably shouldn't take it.
Yep.
And that's
especially if it's a hard
foul. It's a probably, like,
exactly.
Unless you're the person who's my penalty guy to begin with, you probably go and take a breather for a minute, because you're all worked up, you're emotional. You probably shouldn't take it. That's it. But I've had kids, best players on my team, captains, that don't walk up to the penalty, and then the parents after the game are like, why did you have so-and-so take it? Because they walked up to get the ball.
Yeah, they decided it.
Right. Like,
I allow them to decide it on the field.
And when there's 2 or 3, I'm like, you guys figure it out.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, somebody might shank it, and then the next guy's like, you shanked it last time. It's my turn now.
Right.
And if you want to be the guy to take it again, go and practice it. Go so the next time you get a free kick, you don't shank it. Like, there's that lesson that's gone away, because back to your point before about the keepers. Well, we have to make sure it's even.
Yeah.
Even isn't always right. Like, I tell every team when I coach them, every team, and it was a lesson I learned late in life, like late in my career, I should say. I like to say I'm a just coach. I'm not a fair coach. I'll be honest. I don't treat everybody the same. Mm-hmm. And then that's not fair. But I'll treat you the way that you're justly meant to be treated, in terms of your energy that you bring back is the energy you're going to get in return. You put in the work, I'll give you your just opportunities. I'm not going to give you an opportunity just because you showed up. Right? Like, pay to play, been dealing with it now for whatever. But talking about parent education, say this to parents all the time, you're not paying for your kid to play soccer. You're paying for my services to teach your child how to play and how to become a well-rounded individual from the lessons that you can learn in life from sport. If you just want to pay to play, there are a lot of other avenues and places to go and do that. Yeah. A lot of other ones that are less expensive, less time commitment, and you'll get to play. There's a significant difference. Like, even the statement of pay to play, it carries the connotation of I'm paying you so I get X. No. You're paying for my education of your child. And that's very, very different. Yeah. The competitive time and on the field time, it's earned. And again, it shifts as the age shifts. When you're younger, you're moving and you're rotating kids. But as you get older, you should be rewarding the people that are putting in the work. Right. You should be challenging the people that need to be challenged to do more work. If you're not helping anybody. You're not helping the top end, and you're not helping the bottom end in either scenario by just saying, well, you get this and I'm going to rotate you in and it's your turn to play today. Like, that's not it doesn't work. In Michigan, we had to once I started coaching, they had to pay to participate. They changed the wording to play high school sports. So you would if it was a public school, you had to pay, I think it was like $250, and you could play as many sports as possible, but you had to pay, and it was called pay to participate, which makes sense. I wish we would call it that more. Is there anything that you do in your sessions to make sure that your kids are competitive, uber competitive? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to say them on on a podcast. No, I again, from an age side, it's a sliding scale, right? Like, now the 2011s are U15s. Yep. So now let's be real serious here. You're a freshman in high school. Yeah. The question comes up at the start of the year with every kid, and we've got some new kids within the group this year, and it's like, what are your aspirations and goals for the year? What are your aspirations or goals long term, and then how can I help you get there? One of the things that I do, which leaves it open, and it's a question I ask during evaluations. Like I'm in the minority, even at like a camp level. I love evaluations.
Okay.
I think that they're important. I think feedback. Let me rephrase that. Feedback to players is important.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it, or we've been perfect at it as a club, but even with rejections to tryouts, let's call it what it is, right? Tryouts, ID sessions. We only have one team per age group. We don't have second teams. We don't have third teams.
Is that your goal going forward?
Yep.
I have an opinion on that.
Like that's it. And there's, again, two sides to it, because I look at it and go, we really only want to be focusing on certain ages, but then there's a whole other group that eventually gets to you and you're like, oh man, I got to catch you up. But then there's also we only have one team. Now I'm sending people to everything I'm saying that isn't right. We'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
So it's hard. But we have training players. Like, we have players, and we offer the opportunity just to come, and you get access to everything. You don't expect to play.
Yep.
And if for some reason we're shorthanded, you're the first people we're calling. We're not going to call somebody else. Like, it's an opportunity to be involved. And again, it might be someone who hasn't been exposed to that competitive level yet, hasn't been exposed to that commitment level. Maybe they've been a multi-sport athlete and they're starting to narrow it down, so they're still figuring things out and they need a little bit more time. Then that's a good segue in, and they can kind of find out, like, yeah, this is for me, or no, this isn't for me. And there's no harm, no foul on anybody's case. Like, you're in it, and you're either going to get better or you're not, and you move on. Like, we said it at our tryouts this year, and I've said it in the past. We're not looking for the best players. We're not looking for just the best players when we pick teams. You're looking for the players with potential. Like, yeah, you have to. If not, we aren't going to develop players then, because the kids with the potential don't ever get the ability to maximize their potential, because we're taking the people right now that are
successful. Who's the best today?
Correct.
Yep.
And you have to then really dive in and go, okay, why are they successful today? Why have they been successful? What is their ceiling? Like, that's the part about even talent evaluation that is difficult. And I'm going through it right now. I'm providing some guidance to a rising senior, a player with his college journey. And I'm having a conversation, top 25 school, who's evaluating him, right? And they're providing him honest feedback. So I'm like, just be straight. Just be direct with him. Don't beat around the bush. He can handle it. And they are sitting there saying, like, we have to take time and evaluate. We see his potential, but what's it going to be? And do we have the time of that year or 2 years to see if it maximizes when we've only got limited spots? Right. So that goes back to that. So you've got college coaches that now have to look at, well, what's their ceiling? I do chuckle a little bit. They're watching these international guys maybe once or twice, and very rarely are they watching them live.
No.
Very rarely. So they're pulling them in and just going off of, this is the level. I know the level of the second division in Spain.
It's a word of mouth.
Yeah.
It's talking to people that have seen him, and then it's a film.
But then you're watching ECNL kids and MLS next kids 5-6 times over the course of years, and you can't make a decision on them because you're not really watching them when you're watching them. You're kind of out there. Like you said it a while ago. And I know you put a big like pause on it, but ECNL is like for lazy coaches in terms of recruiting, right? Like, there's not a ton of engagement on any level to really have to get involved. You know the level they're competing at. You know where they're at. You've got a measuring stick. You can go out and go, well, they're having success. Great, let's pull them in. They're from this club. Great, let's pull them in. Which goes back to the ODP thing and regional camp. And you had a week with players for years to understand, like, does this kid have a work ethic? Or are they just a gamer? Are they someone who struggles in games, but man, I can work with them and fix what their issue is, because look at them. They're the best player in training.
Yeah.
They raise the level in training. And I just need that player in my session because they're going to raise the level of my session. Like, there was so much access for coaches to the players back then that you really could see over a long period of time. Like, again, a little bit crazy. Through my ODP experience, in a sequence, I chuckled at one point. I had played for or worked with like 3 U.S. men's national team coaches in a row as a kid. So Bruce was at D.C. United and was rolling into the men's job, and then was coming and doing some coaching education here at like Cornell University.
Okay. So
I was one of the people that they pulled in. And so like 4 days, I was his demonstrator in sessions, 2 sessions a day.
Awesome.
Like, so just to be in that, and he was honestly really good, like man management, coming in and talking to people on a quiet level just to get his message across to you without embarrassing you in front of the group. But then by like the 3rd time, if you hadn't done it, he let the entire group know you hadn't done it so that everybody was holding you accountable, which was like a good little pickup. But then regional coach for 1 year was Dave Sarakin, who was the interim coach. Right? And Bill Bradley was a regional coach 1 year. And then so for one sequence, it was kind of like, I played for him. I played for him. And I was 15, 16, 17, young. But it was always, you picked up things about the people that you were around. And, I've always picked that up about Bruce and kind of the way man management stuff. But within that, with ODP, you had the access to the players. You had the access to see what they were doing. And you could see what type of potential someone might have, what type of ceiling they could have, what were their deficiencies. Bringing that to the club level and the youth level, we sometimes do get into I just need to have the best team I can have this year so that I can go out and do whatever I'm going to do. And then the second level of the second team kids, well, we're going to give them the younger coach, the new coach, because it's a second team and it's less drama. Really, if you have that system, shouldn't your best coaches be coaching your second teams or be involved, because you're supposed to be making them better players to eventually work up to your team to be competitive? Like a nice little side lesson that Declan and Grayson learned recently came with their own accord, right? So we went to the Dallas Cup this year.
Yep.
Big thing. First team from Buffalo that I think has ever been. And one of the last teams from like New York State West, since I went and played in it with ODP, again, an ODP state team in 1992. But through Instagram, whatever, they're going following, and you start get the advertisements like, hire me to come and photograph you at the Dallas Cup. So the boys DM, and it's not a 14-year-old kid that they're DMing, and they're like, oh, this is kind of cool. He's a young kid. Give me your schedule. Give him the schedule. He's like, I'm playing against you in the first game. I play for FC Dallas. So, I mean, we went there. We played FC Dallas, like proper FC Dallas.
Yeah.
Oklahoma City Energy, and then Ambassadore from Mexico. And then we played a 4th game against SoCal Reds from California. But playing against FC Dallas, and they end up just becoming friendly with the kid because he's 14. So they're talking to each other after the game. He comes out, does their photos. They find out, like, maybe a month ago, he got dropped this year. Like, he made the team last year for the first time, and he's dropped again. And that's the reality of you're either first team or you're not. Like, the other misnomer that people understand sometimes, all these clubs that have every single league underneath them, they're not all absolutely connected. Like, FC Dallas has FC Dallas, and then they have FC Dallas, ECNL, and everything else. Some of that's licensed. Like,
exactly.
Philadelphia licenses their names to other things.
Yeah, exactly. It's how to make money.
Exactly. And so it's that to me was just fun not fun like in a good way, but like the kids realize, I want to be in an academy, but man, you could be there one day and you could be there not the next day.
Exactly.
Even at that age. So it is a good lesson for those guys to pick up. But I, again, will go back to ODP and say that was a lesson that was taught every single summer at ODP. I, again, don't know how it was done in Region 2, but I can compare now to what it was then because Declan is going through it. Actually, so is Beckham, but they're both going through the process. You know, you would start in September, make the whatever Buffalo team, and then you'd go to Cohocton. It'd be Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Binghamton, and then eventually added the Southern Tier, playing a small tournament. End of the weekend, list the names on a piece of paper, post it to a board. Here's your state pool. State pool starts training through the winter, goes through the winter. It gets narrowed down maybe a little bit. Every coach and club kind of in the area knew that if you had ODP training, that was priority. If your club team had a game, ODP understood the game was the priority, so you got to be able to let go. It's how it worked and was nice, and it was a good relationship between the groups. Mm-hmm. You'd go to the ODP tournament, and then it would be cut down again, and then you'd go to the regional ID camp, which was a week long. Like, I don't know if that's how they did it. And so you'd go to Rider University for an entire week with every age group, and you'd have almost 3 sessions. Game in the morning, training session in the afternoon, either an additional friendly or a game or training session, but in the evening was the pool game. And the pool game was the place to be and the list you wanted to be on every night.
Exactly.
Because that was a list of 30 some odd kids, but those were the kids that had been identified that day. And at dinner time, before you go and pick your meal, you would surely go and look at that door and find out if your name was on that list. Because if your name was on that list, like for me, I don't eat before I play. I see my name, back to my dorm. Like off I go. I'm gonna relax for the night. And even within that, I was a tweener. I was either in the group, not in the group, not like just how I was. Dealt with it a lot. But there was a couple of years where I played in the pool game every night, on top of playing my game and running the session. Like I would come out of those weeks exhausted. Mm-hmm. But you learn, like, I can pick myself up and go again. So you learn the resilience of what it takes just to compete, because I could list a bevy of names of kids that used to play with that were fantastic players, but you looked for your name on the door. And if your name wasn't on that door, your heart sunk a little bit. And if it didn't, then you kind of maybe knew that this isn't for you. Like, I just like to play. Exactly.
Yeah.
Then you get to the end of the week and you'd be checking out and you have to go and look for your name on the list again. And you'd go down, and like at 13, I bawled 2 hours home from Ryder, New Jersey, because 3 nights in the pool game, didn't make the final pool. Okay, so then I got to get back to work. Like, I got to get back at it. You know, and then the years that you do make it to the next level, you've got the best 30 kids a week away at Penn State with the staff playing against each other. So that's Ben Olson, Tim Howard. Like, those were all guys that were a year older or 2 years older that I remember playing with and against as a kid when we would scrimmage. Like, that was just a different animal. I had one summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. I was genuinely home, like in my house, maybe 7 days, maybe 10 maximum. We had gone from finishing school, you know, Memorial Day tournament, weekend finishing school, so it was the middle of June, and went away to the ODP tournament in Trenton, New Jersey. Drove, gone there. Come back for a day, and then I went off to go to a residential camp, a sleepaway camp. Come back, go into, at the time, Empire State Games were still around, which was also an amazing thing.
I just learned about those.
They were amazing.
I just learned about those like yesterday.
They were incredible, right? And thinking way back in the day was Buffalo and Rochester were combined to be Western New York, so it was just kids from Buffalo and Rochester. This is great years. But you would go and you would train, and like you'd have to drive to Genesee and train and meet. Well, my best friend at the time lived in Canisius Lake, so I was closer. So I was like, I'm just going to stay with Justin. So I stayed with Justin. His older adopted brother, another story for another day, was one of the Ukrainians in Rochester that went to Indiana, played in the MLS, you know, I think 3 national championships. Like, he might still be one of the all-time leading goal scorers for the College Cup. So I would stay up there and train with them and go through it. And then we had gone through like this period of July where I had done the ID camp in Ryder, got selected to go to Penn State, like regional camp. Right. But in the middle, I had Empire State Games, which were here in Buffalo, and so you had to stay at the dorms. We made the final, win in penalties. I get directly in the car, drive straight to Penn State, get there just in time for the first session. Week there at Penn State, came home for a day, and in part of the mix of ODP, ID weekend, and camp, I had also gotten picked to go to Europe with the Region 1 team in place of the U16 national team, because they had unexpectedly qualified for the World Cup, but they had committed to this event in Austria. So they needed a team to go. And at the time, Region 1 was pumping out the vast majority of the kids into the Jersey kids, and Beckett Hollenbach. Half of like that Maryland team that made the first College Cup for Sasha, that 4 of them were freshmen. 3 of those kids were from Maryland and Eastern PA. Like it was a bevy of soccer at the time. So we went, instead of those guys, to Austria. So I went from living at Buff State for a week, living at Penn State, came home. Parents stuck me on a plane. I flew to New Jersey, met the rest of the team, got on a plane, went to Austria for 15 days. So I was in Austria for 15 days, came home, started preseason for high school back into my junior year. Like, it was a full summer of just soccer.
It's insane.
But it was, most of it was ODP, right? Like, it was the access for ODP, and again, learning things that you didn't learn at the club level. And again, I had been around a lot. Like, the coaches that went with Dieter Ficken was the head coach of the team, and Shellis Hinman was the coach at SMU, but Dieter Ficken and Manny Shellshite were the two coaches, right? And Ryan, what is your soccer IQ? What is your soccer, like, you have to use your soccer brain, Ryan. Like, stick into it. But Dieter was as hard on me as any coach that I've ever had that wasn't like my actual full-time coach. Even going through the recruiting process, he wrote me a letter. I still have it, that talked about, like, you have this, but to play at the next level, you need to find a weight program. You aren't big enough to play for me right now at Columbia. All right. Okay, like, that's honest. Going back to the feedback, honest, straight, direct feedback. Great. I know what to work with. Like, I don't take offense to it. But the first game that we were playing in was a friendly. It's a warm-up friendly, and I was started on the bench. And he's like, okay, hey, you're going to go in left midfield, go warm up. Okay. I genuinely really never sat on the bench. I'm 15 years old in a foreign country with a foreign coach with a bunch of kids that I kind of know. I don't even know what that means. Like, we're in the 65th minute of the game. I'm jogging, like, kind of seeing what I do on TV, and I'm just keeping going. Like, 5 minutes go by, and I'm thinking to myself, how long do I do this for? Like, what do I do? I'm just going to keep doing it. And then all of a sudden, he catches, like, my eye. And he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, I'm warming up. He's like, are you ready? I'm like, yeah. So he come over. He's like, just come and tell me when you're ready. Like, you don't have to wait for me to call you. I'm like, I didn't know. So I go in again, but it's like a learning lesson. And just tell people when you're ready to go. But it's part of, like, that process. Those things that you just hear, you're not going to pick that up because coach can tell you to warm up, and then he's going to call you and tell you to come and get in the game. Like, it's just a different mentality. But again, it was access through ODP. It was direct feedback from ODP. It was failing at ODP. It was, like, getting beat up. It just was, it was different. And again, going on potential as a kid, John Cole was a left back, big center, big blonde kid from Maryland, like, excellent player. He made the team every single year over me, like, and it was frustrating. It was not frustrating in a bad way when I think about it as a kid. Oh, John's going to make the team.
Right.
Made it the year before. And he went to Austria with us. Well, he was a year behind in school because he was like a late birthday.
Yep.
And fast forward, he goes to UVA, full ride, plays 4 years. My second year in Rochester, he comes in for training camp. He's brought in. At the end, he doesn't get picked, and I'm picked. And it was a little bit of like, yeah, it really doesn't matter at 14, 15, 16 if your end goal is to play here, because he maybe had it all and then lost something along the way. It doesn't matter. I fit the system better, but it's just one of those things that, like, it was a setback that drove me, but it wasn't a setback that defined me because he got picked over me every year.
Right.
Like, at the end of the day, I went and did my thing, and he went and did his thing, and it worked out for both of us probably. But I think that's a hard lesson to learn just from playing club. And I think when you throw the DA in the mix and people now trying to be at the professional level, and then you've got these MLS independent groups that are genuinely just going out and recruiting people from other clubs, and I get it. They need better players to be competitive.
Right.
But they're not developing them.
No.
So they bring them in for that year, and then the next year it's like, well, we weren't successful enough. I got to find somebody else.
Yeah, I got to replace you.
And it's, well, what have you done to help that kid progress? Have they progressed? Have they not progressed? Have they not progressed enough for the system? What is it that's holding them back? Which goes all the way back to what I was saying. It's about potential. And until we put an age limit or an international limit on the college game, our kids will suffer after the age of 16 and 17 to continue to develop. We will stop having even just the random pros come out because there will be less and less avenues for those kids to play. Like, you know, you talked before about kids getting missed, and you get missed in the club system, and kids got missed in the ODP system, sure. Like, there's a cost to it. I get all that. But there's two real world examples here in Buffalo, right? Like, if you look at the graduating class of 2025, you don't have on the boys' side the same long list that you have on the girls' side of kids that are going to play college.
Of course
right?
not.
Like, just go look on social media. There's not as many media day pictures of any other guys who are just getting started. Fine, no problem. But you have two kids that are going to really good Division III and Division II schools who haven't been a part of what I'm going to call the traditional club structure in our area, right? Constantine Santa Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Played at Canisius High School, really was Delaware for most of his life, a little bit of GPS in the early days, but Delaware, and then ODP, and played for Rochester Dynamo, played for Yuri Lavernyenko. He's going to RIT. Like, that's a good Division III program.
Absolutely.
Like, it'd be great for somebody to say, like, yeah, I'm going to RIT. Great. Then you've got Jamal Adair, who played at Williamsville North and pretty much grew up playing for Kenmore. Going to Roberts Wesleyan. Okay, I got a local D2 coach who was watching him train with our U20s. He was like, "Who is that kid?" So I'm telling him, I'm going through. He's like, "He's from where now?" I said, "From Williamsville North, right?" Like, I watched him a lot because Declan played 2 years of JV there, so I would watch the varsity games.
Right.
He's like, he's a good. Now, if you go and ask Johan knows everything about Jamal.
Because
like, loves him.
He was at Will North.
Yeah, and loves him. And I like last fall he came out to one game. I'm coming to watch Jamal. Like, he's the only reason I'm coming out here. I'm like, I got it. But he's a good player, and this guy goes, I got to worry about him. Like, he could play. How did I not know he existed? I'm like, well, that happens. Like, you, if you're not out watching the random games just because you think this is the place to be or this is the spot to go, you're going to miss kids. We've got a couple of kids. We've pulled in one thing that I like from a club standpoint that even in the first year going through that has been important to me has been a good relationship with the players out of like the Lackawanna community or west side of Buffalo. We've got a really big handful of kids from that community.
Yeah.
And it was important to open up the opportunities for them. Got a 2009. The kid can play. Like, I wouldn't ever sit here and be like, oh, he plays for us, and we made him into the player that he is. No, like the dude can just play, right? Syrian refugee kid can just play. He's got rough edges, great, but like he can play. He's the only sophomore in all Western New York. Muhammad Bakar, like kid can play, but he's coming out because I saw him in a pickup game. I literally saw him in a pickup game that they were playing, and I'm like, that kid is phenomenal. Who does he play for? He just plays locally, doesn't do anything. Well, let's get him out here. So then you talk to a couple people and you bring him out. Now for him, I'm looking into two different scenarios, right? Like, I sit here and I complain about the guys that go out and recruit kids to make your team better. I'm going out and watching people to see who's not getting the opportunity or the access to what they should have versus, hey, how to research and find out a club. Some other people don't. They don't even know if there's financial aid available. They don't even know how to get to practice. Like, there's just other barriers that sometimes you have to be active. Like, I have my list at home right now of 18 high school games that I'm going to go and watch throughout the year. Partly just to go and watch my own players or different kids play, but just to see, like, who else is out there. Because as much as I can even sit here and say I know the entire 2011 age group in the area, I don't know everybody. I know a pretty good handful, but guarantee there's going to be a couple of freshmen that pop up that I've never seen before because they played for somebody else or they're out in Southwestern or they're out in an area. So It's important to go and watch just to be able to become a resource for somebody. Whether they ever play for our club, who cares? Like, be a resource for anybody. As part of it, like it goes back to your soccer Michigan Mafia. Like, just being a resource and a friend to people is better, and it's a hard thing to do.
It's really why I started the podcast, man. I wanted to get to know like guys like you more because I don't know you guys,
right.
And I know the Michigan like guys, I don't know everybody here, and it's also exposure. It's exposure to you for you guys, of like, hey, you might not have to go over there, you might not have to go over here. There's another option.
Yeah.
It's and I mean that's a whole other topic.
No,
but
it is. No, I appreciate the podcast, and it's one of those things. I think I had sent you in the one message. Like, I could sit down and we could do 5 1-hour segments. We could pick a topic and roll. Like, I don't even know how long we've been talking.
Dude, we've been on for 2 hours, and I could talk to you for 2 more hours. I won't. I'm not going to keep you that long, but, like, yeah. And, I'm having you on again. You're definitely coming on again.
It's one of those things that this is truly what, like, I love. I can't it's not hokey. I try not to make it seem that way, but like soccer is what I eat, sleep, breathe, and do. Whether it's the business of soccer, like the actual business of it, or the coaching or the education or passing on. And it's like I'm appreciative of people who still have the love to do things like you're doing longer than just when it's beneficial for you. Like, right? Like, yeah, someone could sit here and say the same thing. Oh, Jason's going to grow this and it's going to, but like, it's a labor of love. It's a labor of love. It's not, you're not getting a paycheck right now, cranking out, like, it's a labor of love. It's something that you enjoy, the conversation, and at the end of the day, you're going to have more people like that you coach over the course of however you coach, whether it's as an individual trainer, a team coach, high school coach. How many people are going to come back and still love the game at 30 or get back involved in it when they have a kid? Or, you know, the thing that right now we're working with the local association to figure this out is referees, right? Like, we have a shortage of referees, a vast shortage. I am a relatively quickly triggered individual when it comes to like X on things, and I want to respond. I usually don't. I put the phone down and go away. And I had asked this question to somebody a while ago. It was like 2 years ago. Like, why do we have a 2-man system in high school still, and play with it? Like,
it's archaic,
right? Like, let's move on. And then you get the honest statement back. We don't have enough referees, and most of our ARs are the high school kids that are playing. Fair point, right? Like, that's a fair point, and a little bit of like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. It's, you know, it's okay. But how many kids do we bring into clubs or programs and then educate them to become officials, or even show them that that's a way that they can play, dedicate time to their craft, and, oh, by the way, make money because they need to have a job during the summer or at Sportsplex or be a gym rat. Like, we don't do that. Even as coaches, we look down on referees and it's, oh, referees can't play. And it's a viable, actual professional pathway to be excellent, and
helps soccer IQ too for younger players.
100%. I still play Sundays in the BDSL at a level I shouldn't be playing at my age, and I play with young kids. And by young kids, I mean high school kids. Like, a couple of kids on my team currently that have the potential to be my son's high school teammate this fall, which is frightening to think about. And this is like the first game of the year, and I'm like, stretch the field, dude. We're taking a goal kick. I'm like, if they're all standing at the whole back line standing at midfield. I'm like, just go. And he's looking at me like, I'm gonna be offsides. I'm like, just go. It's fine. I just pumped the ball. And he doesn't run. And after, I'm yelling at him. I'm like, there's no offsides on a goal kick. And he's looking at me and he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you're 17 years old and you play at a decent level. Like, and you don't know there's no offsides on a goal kick. Now, I also know coaches in the area that don't know that rule.
There are refs in the area
that don't know that rule. And it's like, it's one of those funny things. And so it is. It's the soccer IQ is the other piece. Like, used to get stick and still do a little bit, but the kids are getting older, so it's easier. And Itor was the same way. Like, love Itor. Was a great friend, and love working with him. Like, he's one of my favorite people to coach with. We always made the kids tuck in their shirts, training and in games. And actually had a couple of coaches within the club like, why are you forcing the kids to tuck in their shirts? You don't have to tuck in your shirts. And I was like, well,
that's how I grew up.
Well, no, it's actual rule. It's a FIFA rule.
Well, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like, it's a rule. It's a rule in the rule book. You have to, it says it. Your uniform must be neat and tidy. And I get that we're watching the EPL and we're watching this, and guys' shirts are all, like, those are custom fitted shirts that are slim fit, that aren't stretchy. Yeah. I said, now let's go to a practical reason. And this is what I always show kids at a young age, a practical reason. If your shirt's out of your shorts, and me as a defender, I know how to pull your shirt. Referee's not going to know that your shirt just got pulled because your shirt's already out of your shorts. If you're a kid that they see you, a good referee sees that your shirt is tucked in, because referees notice those things, socks up, shin guards, they notice that stuff.
Right.
Now all of a sudden your shirt is hanging out the back, or as you're getting pulled, it's coming out. They know your shirt's getting pulled. Like, there's a functional reason to. I love, as a center back, even now, like in the BDSL and stuff, or even over 35, your shirt's out. Great. Like, You're just giving me something you're giving me a tool to use to make my job easier.
Right.
You know, two fingers tucked in, 2 fingers out, shirt straight down. Referee's never going to know that I've got your shirt. It just is what it is. But it's one of those things that for us as a club, we want to bring in referee training for the players so that they can learn. And we've got a handful of kids that are already, registered. But then the flip side is we also want to educate the parents, because we don't have a lot of second and third generation parents that even know the rules of the game. So they sit there and they start yelling at the referees. And then they're like, I've yelled at enough parents of my own team back across the field. Had an incident this year, not in a bad way, State Cup game with SDA. And we always have good competitive feisty games. Like you talked about, how do you get feisty in practice? It's with that feedback, that relationship, and let kids have a little bit of personality. Yeah. If someone came and watched me coach a session with like Declan in it, they would think that I'm a masochist towards my own kid. He gets fouled, just get up and play. I'm gonna call a foul in practice. I barely call fouls in practice. Right. Get over it. Get on with it.
Act like you've been kicked before.
Yeah.
Act like you've been stepped on.
Because if you're gonna lay there in training, you're gonna lay there in a game, and whether it's a foul or not, you still need to get up, right? And then at the same time, do you have the mentality to just go and get the ball back? You don't have time to lay there and roll and be like, well, you pushed me over. Who cares? Get up and get on with it. It's caused problems with parents, because I also look at some kids like, I love dribblers. People are going to be like, oh, Ryan hates dribblers. I love kids that are creative and can dribble, but you better believe in training, I'm going to let you get kicked. I'm going to let you get kicked. I will not stop and be like, hey, Jimmy kicked Tommy, it's a foul. No, man. Like, if you want to be a dribbler, you need to learn how to get kicked. And the best place to learn is in training.
Yep.
I tell the kids all the time, training should be, and it's not my own stuff. Training should be more difficult than the games on the weekend.
Absolutely.
You should get out of here, beat up, bruised, battled, so that on Saturday it's, this was easy. I didn't even break a sweat today. Like, you're preparing for a test. And once the test comes, I can't really help you in the test. I can support you, I can encourage you, I can make a couple adjustments to make things easy, but at the end of the day, I can't get on the field and make a decision for you. Like, it can't be done. So if you're not prepared, forget it. And now it goes to the college thing. If you're not prepared, forget it. I had 2 water bottles thrown at me, and I know it sounds like, this guy's got stories all day. I'm like, had 2 water bottles thrown at me in college by the same coach. If I didn't have those moments in ODP, and I truly believe this, if I wanting to just like buckle down and be like, okay, I wouldn't have gotten through that. I would have been like, I'm transferring today. Like today, if you could imagine someone came and one of your players came and be like, my coach yelled at me at halftime and threw a water bottle, they'd be in the portal that night.
They'd be in the athletic director's office.
Like having a fit.
Uh-huh.
Like it could go, my freshman year, playing away at Hartford. University of Hartford they were like 28th ranked in the country, All-American. He was a conference player of the year, and it was a lesson that I knew, which is why I look back, I'm like, yeah, I was an idiot. Pouring rain. I played in the area where we still played on grass in the fall.
Yep.
Right. Big puddle, balls in the puddle. I got this All-American barreling down to me with another one, and I'm playing center back. We played a 3-5-2, so I was playing like proper center back sweeper. So I'm going to get the ball. And I'm thinking to myself, I do not have the pace or the capability to dribble him on the touchline. Like, if I try to dribble a stop, I'm going to lose the ball. So I'm just going to knock it. Cardinal rule, ball in the puddle, you don't try to kick it as hard as you can. You scoop it, and you get the ball out.
Yeah.
Known that since I was 6. In the moment, that goes out of my mind, and I try to smash the ball with my non-dominant foot, which becomes a beautifully flighted ball to the top of the box, to the other center forward in the space I was once occupying, which now just gets blasted into the back of the net. This is 5 minutes before halftime. We go off the field. We're, in the locker room. It's quiet. One senior's coming over, captain is talking to me. He's like, dude, I'm like, I got it. Coach comes in, and he's using some choice words and yelling at the whole team. And he goes, and you're playing like a freshman. And in my mind, I'm like, Coach, I am a freshman. Like, I am a freshman. How am I supposed to play? And the next thing I know, a Mueller plastic water bottle right by my head. Like, right by my head. And I was like, well, that was a wake-up call. Okay, I'll turn it on the second half.
Welcome to college soccer.
Yeah, this was like my sixth. It wasn't my first game either. It was like game 6 or 7, and it was just one of those moments of, okay, you got to be here, and you got to be here all the time. Consistency. You can't have mistakes like that. And he's talking about Justin Fair. His expectation of me was higher than it was for other people, so he held me to that standard. Happened again my junior year, different scenario and different story, but like we got into it in the locker room, and the next thing I know, I got hit in the chest with the water bottle, like dead on. And I kind of like, okay, if that's how it's going to be. And a little bit, it was one of those things that for me, okay, you're going to push me, I'm going to push back. Like, let's go now. So it did elevate me a little bit, but it's one of those things that for me, it was always about fighting, picking yourself up and fighting, getting off the mat and going again, being challenged. In a training session, I want to see kids respectfully get after each other. I have no problem with my teams yelling at each other or kids having a little bit of a tiff back and forth.
Absolutely.
Like, you don't have to love each other. You have to respect each other. You have to know how to play with each other. You don't have to like each other.
Right.
You step off those white lines. I don't care if you talk, if you snap, if you're on Instagram. You step on the field. You're playing for the logo that's on your chest. You're playing for me. These are the rules. These are the standards. You need to push each other, because at the end of the day, if you're not pushing him, when it comes time to compete, they're not going to be ready. We had an instance that I had to have a conversation with one of my players during our ID sessions, because it was he was managing it as if it was one of our training sessions.
Yeah.
Right. So we got 40 kids out there at the age group. It's a lot of kids, and he's treating each one like we're in practice, and even using his mouth a little bit to be like, "Get up! What's wrong with you?" And kids he doesn't know. So I'm pulling him aside. I'm like, "Dude, this is like an ID session." I'm like, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Coach, I'm making it easy for you. If they can handle it, they belong. If they can't, they don't belong." I was like, oh man, I created a monster. But I appreciate it, because in his mind, he's like, if they can't deal with this, I don't want to be in the foxhole with them.
Yeah.
But we have kids that don't have that fight. Like I mean, listen to a lot of the college stories and kids and where they go, and like I had one of those moments where I really wanted to go to UConn. I was recruited at UConn, really liked Ray Reed as a coach. John Dealey was the assistant. They were recruiting me when they were at Southern Connecticut State. And early on, I had gone to a couple of games at Maroney Stadium, and I'm like, this is the environment I want to be in college. Right. This is soccer-specific stadium, Storrs, Connecticut. It's got big-time basketball in the winter for me to be entertained. It's a good school, close enough to home. Soccer's fantastic, history, tradition, love it all. And back in the day when, like, signing day was March 15th, and it was March 15th, I had done the verbal commitment thing in the fall. I'd gone up, done an official visit, all that stuff. It was great. Still hadn't, like, cut anybody else off, because it was just, here's your offer, and yeah, I'm going to take it. Thank you. And week before Thanksgiving, get a phone call, the one phone call a week,
Yeah.
the old school days before texting and all the email. Dealey calls me. He's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm thinking it's just our weekly chat. He's like, I need to talk to you. I was like, all right, like, what's going on? He said, "Hey, we have to pull back our offer." And I was like, "I'm sorry, what? You gotta do what now?" He said, "We have an opportunity to sign Chris Gabandi out of Texas. We need the dollars for you. You guys play the same spot, give or take. So, you can still come here, but just know you're going to kind of be in a spot to have to fight, and we're bringing Chris in to play that spot, so maybe you got to shift to wide midfielder or somewhere else, and we got to see." Like, I cried. I mean, like, properly. My mom will say it was one of the hardest things she's ever seen. Like, for me, like, bawled my eyes out.
Right.
Bawled my eyes out. Because I was like, that was a school I was going to, and I'm not going there. Now, in retrospective, kid goes on to win the Mac Herman in 2000. They win a national champion. They picked the right guy, right? Like, I can't fault them for ever saying we picked him over you. And he was the right guy, clearly.
Right.
But it was a moment of, okay, are you going to pick yourself up back off the floor and understand that you got to go somewhere else and look for a different opportunity and move forward? I don't know how many kids we educate that way to, again, know that it's okay, right? Like, everybody wants to be liked by everybody. Everybody wants every coach to want them. You need one coach to want you. One. And it's got to be the right one, right? Like, it's got to be the coach that can make the decision to bring you in, whether it's the pro level, the college level, it doesn't matter. You don't need to be everybody's cup of tea. And too often, we as coaches in this developmental process are trying to create these little replicas of people we've seen or people we know or even of ourselves, and it's such a disservice. I can't try to make Declan me. He hasn't gone through what I went through or experienced what I've went through. He's not going to see it the same way. He's got to have his own journey, and I can educate him on the principles of things, and I can give him bits and pieces and give him as many experiences as I can as a dad, as a coach, as a club director. But, like, he's not going to be me. It's not possible. And that's not a knock on him. He could be better than me. He probably got more tools to be better and being more athleticism. But we as coaches sometimes create these little boxes, and like, we have to create these little players that we think are what everybody wants, as opposed to saying, what does this kid have that nobody else has that I can bring out and shine? Because that's what's going to make them stand out. Like, what is really the difference maker for this kid?
Right.
And it comes back into that balance of, do you play people in positions? No, man. Like, sometimes there are people that are just out and out strikers. Don't put them in the back. Like, what game are you playing? You got a kid who's a defender. Oh, I'm gonna go and have him. Like, sure, in training, if you want to go and put him up top and have, but like, don't sit there and say, for their benefit, I'm gonna move them around the field, and it's gonna be great for their emotional. Like, no, you have people that want to be a defender. Let him be a defender. You got a kid that wants to run through people. Let him run through people. Like, one of the things, again, going back to the college side and the competitive nature of what they look for in players, right? It's not everybody's good on the ball. Everybody's good on the ball at that level. Like, everybody is.
Yeah.
You aren't going to stand out because you're clean technically. Everybody's clean technically. For the most part, everybody's a good athlete. It's what are those intangible things that you can bring out? Going back to a serial winner, like having a conversation with a coach who talks about, I got a kid. He's not my smartest player. He's not my best player technically, but like, he wins every small-sided game in training. Every small-sided game. Doesn't matter. I could put him with the 3 weakest players. Kid finds a way to win. He goes, you're telling me that doesn't mean something?
Yeah.
Like, and so he goes, now he's 4 years. He's my captain. He's the guy that leads. He's not my best player, but he's the guy that gets us over the line when I need someone to get us over the line. And he's like, I probably wouldn't have picked him, now looking back, if I wasn't where I was as a coach and what I was looking for. But how many of those kids are we producing? How many of those, we talk about length of time. I say that Buffalo is stuck, or our area is stuck. Not that we've gone backwards or that we're behind. Like, there's a history that a lot of people don't know about, because we do have a lot of people who have never left. We also have a lot of imports that come in that very quickly are gone.
Peace.
And then people that come in and don't ask or don't want to know the history. Like, would anybody know the name David Kwesi Makuza? No, right?
I don't.
It goes by DK, or went by DK as a kid. Played at Williamsville North, played for Germania, played in ODP, captain of the U17 boys national team. Went to Wake Forest, he got injured, but ended up getting into the U.S. Navy and was the captain of the U.S. Naval team. Like, not U.S. Naval Academy, but U.S. Naval team.
Yeah.
Now lives in Detroit, or in Washington, D.C., and he's on the board for U.S. Soccer Foundation. Like, that's a kid from Buffalo that we pumped out in the 90s that could play and was fantastic. The list of girls that had gone to James Madison, Duke, UB, there's a long list. Like, we have a recency bias of, we have all this now because of social media and records. There's a lot of history that existed in this community that is kind of just sitting and people need to know about. Like, that's why I say we're not behind. We got stuck. We got stuck and never progressed. Like, truthfully, who's the last male player from our area that really grew up in our area, played in a club in our area? Because I don't want to discount the guys that have gone to RNY. I don't see that as our Buffalo.
Area.
It's their thing.
Yep.
Like, Rochester's got its own thing. Who's the last kid from Buffalo that went and played beyond college that was really a Buffalo club kid? Like, not Abdi. Abdi, he's an anomaly on himself.
He is.
Ali Alamari, same thing. They're the white knights that kind of come out of nowhere. But the last one to go through one of our systems, Bobby
Shuttleworth, goalkeeper. Yeah.
It's a decade ago. Honestly, more than a decade ago. I know he was still playing, but like, it's a decade ago. And then if you go before that, who was the last one before Bobby? It's probably me, which that was like 2002. So we're talking 20 years ago. I mean, it's these long gaps where in the 90s you had a run of guys like Eric Dade. Dade's from Buffalo, played Dallas sidekicks at the MLS, like VCU. He had a career, came out of Buffalo. There is a culture in Buffalo for soccer that just hasn't really been fostered. We have the biggest men's amateur league, I think, in the state. 72 teams, I think Jeeber said at one point, or like 75 teams across all the BDSL divisions.
Right.
In Buffalo, right? Peter just put out the note not too long ago. Buffalo was the number one DM for premiership ratings.
Yes.
Right? You're on the cusp of Canada. Like, it's here. I just don't know if we've gotten out of our way to let it go. And going back to competition, we haven't had competition at a club level.
We can't.
No, because we won't play each other.
We won't play each other. We can't play each other.
Oh,
I mean, you can.
You can.
Right.
Like, I'll put it out there. I talk to Rory and Jamie. We go and play R&Y frequently. I work with Bill Boyle. Our 2013s play each other. Like, I tap into the relationships where they can, because I don't care. You win. Great. Like, you beat us. Cool. That's good. That's a good thing. Like, it's okay for us to play each other and lose. If parents are picking clubs or picking environments for their kids based upon the results against the other local clubs, we'll never move forward. Like, forget about it. Is it the right competitive environment for your kid? Like, I can't speak to it cleanly, but I don't know too many highly competitive areas that have good, strong foundational clubs that still have as deep of a local town club mentality as we have here. Mm-hmm. Like the Michigan, do they still have like a deep run of local town kind of board-driven, parent-driven clubs?
No, they're massive conglomerates.
Right.
For
the most part. And there's the balance on the two sides. So you can say, well, you've got the resources, so everything gets provided and it's better. Mm-hmm. But by doing that, you kind of pigeonhole some kids and you don't give room for growth and breadth and for people just to get introduced to the game, because straight away it's, well, what team am I on? First team, second team, third team, fourth team, or fifth team.
Right.
And that's my label from the time I'm 8 years old, versus I play for X town club and I'm the best player on my team, but I'm playing against that team and that's their best player. And we got to play against each other. Like, in a utopian society, if we only had one club in Buffalo, which would never happen, but it would be amazing if you could really break it down to say, okay, you have your one team. It's your one team at your age group, and it's the kids that want it. Not just necessarily the best kids. It's the kids that want that.
And make it exclusive again.
Correct. Like, it's those kids that want it. Then you have another group of really good kids that can play, but they just don't want that, because not everybody wants the same thing. Like, I won't say an age group because it'll make it easier. There's a kid that from like a long time ago I've been saying he has got a high ceiling purely because of the way he approaches his craft in terms of his game of getting better. Mm-hmm. And it's a vice, and it's going to alienate him. It's going to make him a loner. It's going to make people look at him and be like, kid's weird. But he's got this little innate drive that you don't want to take away to put him back into the box. And as a coach, I got to have him in this box because he's got to fit my system. He's got to fit this style. Like, he's got to fit this. We'll kill it. And then when we kill it in that kid at 10, you can't get it back at 13, 14, 15, 16 when they need it. Feisty kids. Like, I've had coaches go back and be like, your kid is not my, I'll
right,
say,
one of your players.
No, I'll even say, like, I'll be my son, right? My younger son. Uh-huh. He's got my fight, right? Like, and he's picked it up from watching me play.
Right.
I am a player. I'm a coach. I'm a dad. I'm a human being. Who I am as a player in the white lines is not who I am off the field. Like, I don't care if it's over 30. I want to win, and I'm gonna go in on a tackle. And on Sundays, if your kid's in high school and I tackle him, I'm sorry. Like, like the number of kids, even mid-game, that I've tried to coach, and they look at me like, what the hell are you doing? Who are you? And I'm just like, you know what? Forget it. Like, forget it. I'm 40. I said it to someone. I'm 44 years old.
Right.
You're 17. If you don't see the gray hair, the overweight, the slow, stiff movement at the beginning of the game and go, I am running at that guy at center back with the ball all day long, you don't know how to play. Like, you don't know. You should just run at me. 3 touches by me. What am I going to do? They come at me. They see me. And what have they been taught? Pass the ball sideways. Turn around, play it backwards. Pass the ball sideways. And I'm like, dude, in the middle of the game, I'm like, would you just run at me? Like, last year, it's actually against freaking Williamsville Willies. It was Johan's team. I feel like a jerk, and this is why people will look and be like, that guy is a jerk. I was literally doing like run at me. Just do something. Not because I was trying to prove I can tackle the kid, but it's like, oh my gosh, somebody just run at the old man.
Right.
But they don't. And so my kid has seen me play like that. So my kid goes in and gets stuck in on tackles. We've had to temper some things, but at the same time, that's the fight and competitive drive that one is going to make his teammates better. His teammates have learned how to deal with it, so they don't deal with, like, in a game, there's nothing anymore.
Right.
Like, those 2013s, they get up and they just get on with the game. They deal with it, and I love it. It's their personality as a team. But as they get older and they get into high school and they get into college, you can't reteach that. Like, you either have it or you don't. And if you take it out of people, you can't get it back. Like, you can't get it back. And we don't have enough kids that are like that. We don't. Like, we don't have enough kids that have that bite and fight and will. And I think until we allow that to happen, we're going to struggle. And the reason we can't have that is because we won't play each other, because we won't accept the fact that we lost. And it might look bad, or it's going to take away my numbers. And if I lose my numbers, I lose my revenue. And if I lose my revenue, it doesn't look good. Again, I go back to that 10, 10, and 10. We went to Dallas, and we got thumped by FC Dallas. I got nothing to hide on that one. Mm-hmm. Team beat New England Revolution 7-1. Right? They beat the same age group, MLS team, 7-1 in the finals. We lost 5-0, and I was like, it was a good 5-0. Like, we weren't under duress the entire game. We created a couple of chances, but what the kids did is they actually defended. Like, they grounded out defending. And when we walk away from it, you lost. You lost to 24 kids that can flat out play.
Right.
Like, when you looked at the
they could be from all over the nation.
All over the nation. You look at the U14 national team roster, 5
from FC Dallas.
5 from Dallas. Like, they could play. And so for our kids, I'm like, there's your lesson. And if you want to go and beat them, now you know what you need to do in the next 8-10 months. It's part of that piece. But it's tough for us to dive into history, the club culture, all of it. People willing to be open and work and try new things and be collaborative is such a catchy word, but just be open to it. Just be open to something different, because you've seen something different. Like, I could sit here and say honestly and be like, first time I heard of Jason Collinsworth, I was skeptical, because I'm a skeptical person. Like, sure. And then I do some research. I talk to people, watch a lot of the podcasts. I'm like, man, he's seeing other things and then correlating it to Buffalo. And they're hard things to share because people don't always want to hear them.
No. They don't. And like something you said earlier made me really think about when I first got here, and somebody would tell me about this kid. You gotta watch this kid. And I'm like, he's regionally special. He's not nationally special. I've seen nationally special. I draw back on kids that I worked with back then, and it's like, and they don't want to hear that.
No. It's hard because it's even with parents now. There's a clip out there. I think that was a couple of people have liked it. That it talks about there is no such thing as an elite 11-year-old. There's no such thing as an elite 8-year-old. Even as much as social media is great, I think it has done a real disservice to youth sports as a whole, because there's a lie that was already being told that now is being magnified, that people buy into both at the parent level and at the kid level, right? They're only seeing the good takes.
Exactly.
Like, and then you're watching a highlight reel. Anybody can make a highlight reel. Literally anybody can make a highlight reel.
Anybody.
And there's the little whatever he's, I think, an 8-year-old or 9-year-old that now is all over from Barcelona. Kids all over the ball. That's great. Why are we talking about this kid? Because he's at La Masia and he's at Barcelona and he's the next Lamine Yamal. Like, why? Lamine Yamal is Lamine Yamal. Messi is Messi. Ronaldo is Ronaldo. Yes, you can look at those things and be inspired, but you aren't going to be them. And I don't mean that as like, don't dream and don't chase, but
right.
Nobody's going to be Messi. Messi's Messi.
Right.
Nobody's going to be David Beckham. Like,
exactly.
You have to draw the inspiration and become the best version of who you are, as opposed to trying to copy somebody else because you saw them online. Like, that's the thing that again, diving into all that is just, it's crazy. And then parents go into it and it's, well, our team is the second ranked team in the state. What, on Gotsport? Because you played more Gotsport tournaments? Like, that stuff,
yeah.
That's great and it's awesome. But is that why you're out here? Because if that's why you're out here, then you need to put some of these other things that you're talking about to the side, because it's not going to happen.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it's and the best part is get up every day and go back into it, because on the off chance you're going to find the one kid that really it makes an impact on, or in 10 years, like I still love for my father when he sees guys that are now in their 50s, I still call him coach, or we'll check in on him, or more recently people come and be like, I played for you. He's like, I don't remember that kid at all. Like, I don't remember him like at all. But there'll be like a kid who played ODP or something else, and it's still fun for even when Johan sees my father. Like,
yeah.
Through coaching, my dad has had an impact on a lot of people's lives. Like, even now, within club leadership locally, my father coached a lot of those guys or worked with them at some point, or had a big impact on their playing careers. Like, there's a lot of interwoven stuff within the community that it's nice to see. It just would be really nice if we could all put it together and elevate it for what it is. Understand even our own shortcomings, myself included, as to like, what do we need to do to make this thing go? Like, really make it go, because it can. Like, I think it can. One of the statements that bothers me the most from a coaching perspective is when I hear a coach say, well, we just don't have the players. We don't have the player pool. We don't. And I've said this to young coaches. Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that? It's our own.
1,000%.
It's our own. Who's been in charge of teaching them?
Yeah.
We have been.
Right.
Like, it's on us. But we'll turn around and be like, we don't have the player pool that so and so has. We don't have.
It's such a cop out.
We've done that to ourselves, right?
I feel that way after every failure at a World Cup. It's like every coach should feel like he owns part of this or whatever. You know what I mean?
But the comment that Alexi made over the weekend about, like, at some point somebody needs to step in and go, this is how we're playing, and these are the 28 guys that for the next 4 years I'm going to find out which ones are the best ones at playing, which might not be your best 24 players. Like, that's just the way that it is. I mean, again, going back to that cultural piece, you look across the landscape of other countries that are successful repeatedly, they don't have their best players on the field all the time, or even in the camp all the time. Guys get left out because they don't fit. They don't, for whatever reason, don't fit that group of players. They don't gel right. The chemistry's not right, which, like, it's okay to say we didn't take our best 24, but we took the collective best team to go and be competitive. We took the right group to go and be competitive. Like, even here locally, until we say that, I think that's going to be a challenge for us really to produce anything that's genuinely remarkable.
Let's end it there with what's next for Buffalo Pro.
Man, a lot, I hope. I mean, outside of the pro thing, which I don't want to steal anything from Peter or what's going on down there. But
I plan on having him on eventually. Yeah. I don't know him at all.
No, so. There's a lot there. From the academy side, it's sticking to our guns, which is a hard thing to do, but continuing for the slow growth, like the slow growth of the player, not of the club. Like, if we don't add another team, okay. Like, that doesn't matter. If we lose teams at younger age groups over time because we decide it's okay. The idea is to continue to create the best environment for players to learn and grow. And if those players pick up and choose and say, you want to know what? I think I want to go and take this challenge on. Okay, we support it. Like, we'll support you. You want to go and try MLS next? Go for it. You want to go and you think that BCNL is where you want to be, then go. But if you came here and you weren't picked for one of those teams before you came here and now you go and get picked, good. That's the goal, because that, to us, is proof that we're helping players become better versions of themselves. In the long run, for us, really, in the short phase of what comes next, it's, as we've grown, really focusing on maintaining the culture that we've created over the first 2 years, which is hard to do at any level when you start scaling up. You know, it's been easy, without question. 4 teams, 5 teams. It's easy for Nikki and I to have our hands on the culture, to have our pulse on every kid that's in there, every family that's in there, to make sure everybody feels engaged. You double your numbers, that becomes more of a challenge. So for us, it's a big focus on that. Like, for me, over the next couple of weeks as training gets in, and I love this time of year for college and for high school, and it's always reminds me of soccer time. But it's getting to know the kids that I don't know on all the teams that I'm no longer a part of. Like, right. It was easy when I coached 3 out of the 5 teams, and I knew everybody. Now you've got to find that balance of still knowing everybody and being around it enough where you're not overextending yourself and still giving to your teams that you have as much as possible. But that's part of the culture piece. Like, I want every player to know who Coach Ryan is, that they can just call me coach, and if they have a question or go for it. You know, one of the lessons we've learned over the last 2 years, and Nikki and I joke about a lot, is at the very beginning we made ourselves really accessible because we felt like it was important, you know, like accessible.
Yeah.
Now we look back, we're like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But I do think it's okay if you can start putting some boundaries to it.
Yeah.
But still be accessible. Still be approachable for parents to know, if I have a question, I can come up and ask. If it's a really uncomfortable question, I can come up and ask. Whether it's related to the team that I'm involved with, it doesn't matter. Like, to be approachable. For us, it's now finding our feet. Like, the boys are all going into the Elite Academy League. Mm-hmm. So moving into that league to have some scheduled games, because it's, again, you got 1 or 2 teams, and we can play through A or bounce around and then pick up friendlies. That's easy. Mm-hmm. When you go to try to do that for 6 or 7 teams, not as easy. You need to have a little bit of structure. So we'll move into that, which will be a new territory for us, which will be great. And then over the course of the next 18 months is, how do you now not evolve this, but how do you mesh this into the pro team that's coming? And how does it really become integrated in there and in the right way? Not a throwaway, and maybe things haven't gone in the right order that we all want them to go, and there's a little bit of delay, but that's okay. A door closed, a new door opens. shifting from where the stadium was going to be. Okay, fine. Maybe that leads to something bigger and better because we have a little bit more time. So it really is just sticking to our guns on some things, which is difficult to do because it's counterintuitive for some folks. But maintaining that culture that's been created, and it's probably got to evolve a little bit, which is fine. But we'll work through that. And then the last part is finding a way to be integrated into the pro side. So it's fun. Like it genuinely, that stuff is the fun part.
It's a fun time. I mean, when I saw, I guess Ryan was the first announcement. No, Colin, or actually
no.
Taylor was.
Well, Ryan was first because he was the U20s. So he came on as our U20 coach first. But when we went into the actual coaching staff, it was Taylor.
Yeah, it was Ryan, and then it was Taylor, then it was Sean, then it was Colin, and I'm like, thank God. Like I messaged each one of them at some point individually, privately. I'm like, I'm excited for this because I just feel like there needs to be more.
It's a good group. It really is a good group that we're getting to that like-minded phase and working off of each other and being able to kind of focus on, okay, what do you need to be successful? What do I need to be successful? How do we do that together? How do we leverage each other's strengths and weaknesses, again, just like any other team, to make each other better? Like we are getting to a point, we haven't gotten to it yet. Like really everything kind of starts August 1st, right? Like got to let everybody finish out their stuff. And then in the midst of it, you've got preseason starter for Ryan and Taylor and for Sean. So you're balancing some of that. But we're going to be getting to either weekly or bi-weekly like meetings where a short piece is the logistics of what do we need to cover administratively, and then what do we need to do soccer-wise. Like that to me has been, of all the places I've worked, and again, it's easy when it's two of us or three of us with Mike. Like working with Nikki, like Nikki's sneaky good. Like sneaky good, sneaky smart on the game, on different things. Like she's an exceptional at what she does. And to be able to have honest and open soccer conversations and share ideas, and even quite frankly be challenged sometimes, to be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you need to, from a team perspective, but also from a man management perspective, right? Like she sees something in a player that I'm not seeing, and she was like, you should try this. And then you try it, and you're like, yeah.
That's what she was talking about.
Yeah, you saw it a different way. And then same thing on the girls' side. And then we'll do flip-flop coaching, which that's one of the things I got to work on this weekend, is what is our flip-flop schedule. So our flip-flop schedule was like, I'm going to take a different team for one session, just one session. And
I like that.
It gives them a little, again, if you time it right, you kind of get into that phase of like, well, they've heard you long enough. Now bring somebody else with a different energy and change the conversation. So it's that, again, is part of the culture thing. But with this group of coaches, now it's not just, oh, it's Coach Ryan today, or oh, it's Coach Nikki. They're going to get Colin, and they might get Ryan. And Ryan, could run a college session with the kids versus what he's doing with the younger kids. Or Sean comes in, and Sean's not going to have, and it's fine. He's not going to have the patience for the 2013s to be like goofing off. He's going to come in, and they're going to be like, Coach Ryan lays down law. Sean's going to be like, boom, here it is. So it's a nice dynamic to have as a group.
More clubs should do that, because you don't know how many kids come in here complaining about how they do the same stuff all the time, and they're kind of like bored with it.
Yeah. One of the things that we even love, and again, it is more difficult. We've had a mentor-mentee program the last 2 years. So we've assigned every older player a younger player. And so, again, on the boys' side, it's been super easy because we had 2009s, 2011, 2013s.
Right.
So a 9 got an 11, and 11 got a 13. And with the 9s, last year, they got to train with the U20, so they kind of got it from a different direction.
Right.
This year, it'll be the same thing, 9s, 11, 13s, and then 07s, 08s with the 10s and the 12s. But, like, man, those are some of the best training sessions that we do, because it'll be, again, going back to why you do things, the parents like, well, that's just lazy. He's training his teams together. And he doesn't. No, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that that's their partner for the session. So you take a 13-year-old and you put him with an 11-year-old, and he's going to help coach him. Well, what does that help the 13-year-old? It helps the 13-year-old understand the biomechanics of like the technical part that we're doing, because they've got to help get the 11-year-old to do it. So when they can't figure it out on their own, now they're learning to teach it. So then they teach themselves when they go home and train. But then at the same time, it builds camaraderie between the two kids, so that on the weekends when we're away, it's not a facade that they're supporting each other. It's something that's genuine. Like, we've gone to high school games as a team, and they know all the kids. They love the little kids. Like, it just changes it. Same thing for the girls. Like, so that is a big, big thing that for us we have to maintain, because I think it goes beyond just the soccer side. It goes to the next phase of life, that they're building people that they can go and look up to. Because, again, if one of these kids gets out, they can be like, that was my mentor when I was 13 or 11, whatever it was.
And it's a community, and it's building a community within a club.
Correct.
Even though that they're all from, one kid's from Clarence, one kid's from Lancaster,
Yep.
One's Lackawanna, one's Buffalo.
Yep.
It's
and then again, because you got the mixed ages on the boys' side, you got some kids that are playing JV or varsity at a young age, but they're playing against the older kids, so it becomes fun for them to compete against each other during the high school season. Mm-hmm. There's a little bit of banter that then can come into practice. Like, that also, to me, is why I like high school soccer, because when you get the kids together, which is another thing we do a little different now, I feel like I'm pitching the club again. We train during the fall with every age. I don't care if you're playing high school or not. Really? You train during the fall. It's on our responsibility to manage the workload of the kid, to understand what their schedule is.
Yeah.
It's a 12-week high school season that they cram in a ton of games.
Yep.
So if we're doing a technical only on a ball, and you got a game on a Wednesday, don't come to practice. You got a game. It's fine. But if you didn't have anything today, come and get your touches on the ball. Because high school season, you're not getting touches on the ball routinely.
No, because you're
playing.
Can't.
You don't have time.
Exactly.
So we do that. And then on the weekend, on Sunday, because that's you play everybody's off day, you have your team session. And that session for the older kids is mostly going to be walking through, recovery, a little bit of strength and conditioning, fundamentals of play, like fundamentals of play that need to be taught at every level that people have to understand. Like, again, we've done this in the classroom, really dove into it this year, but like the layers of the game and breaking it down. And it's funny because someone's like, how do you do that with the 2013s and the 2009s? I'm like, there are so many levels that we don't even get to, let alone with the 2013s, let alone the 2009s, because they didn't understand level one. Like, fundamental idea of attacking, create opportunities. Fundamental idea of defending, deny opportunities. Start there. And then, like, then we can talk about the next transition, first, second defender, third defender, first, second, and third. Like, that's the stuff that, for me as a soccer nerd, I dive into all. I would do that for, and I've tried to. I would do that for travel clubs for free. I would sit and for coaches, like, I love talking about that stuff. And it's always, again, loop back to the college to pro thing. Players that are successful have an understanding of the fundamentals. Players that do well and can move on maybe have been taught tactically how to fit into a system, and then they get recruited to play that system, and then they're done when they're done with it. And then you get into, again, BDSL playing amateur, and you're telling somebody to make an adjustment, and they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Because they were taught, this is how to play the 9. This is how to play the 6. Okay, why? Why do you play that way? And as coaches, we watch tiki-taka, and we want everything to be like Pep Guardiola. Mm-hmm. So it's sideways, backwards, no progression forward. Well, the objective is to create opportunities. You can create opportunities by just getting the ball in the box. Like, someone's going to go, that's route 1. No, play the ball in the box with a purpose. Put someone in the box, get numbers in the box, and serve the ball in the box. Like, goals will come. So it's, for us, that becomes the tactical component. Like, when we started this, and this was the last bit I say in the club, what Nikki and I agreed on from the beginning, anybody can go out and teach you the technical skills of the game. Every club we teach technical training. You have to. That's like saying you're going to go into a school and you're not going to learn how to write. Like, it's the ABCs of playing the game. Then when they talk about tactical, what does that really mean? We're going to teach your kid tactics. what does that mean? Is that a question that any parent ever asks the clubs when they pick a club? What tactics are you going to teach my kid? No, because so why is that something that a parent's like, oh, tactically they do this, and you don't know. Is it a system that, again, I'm at an MLS academy. Peter Vermees had a system when he was at Sporting KC.
Yeah, everybody plays
and it
4-3-3.
filtered down.
Yeah, everybody
and that's
plays 4-3-3.
this is how you got to do it. And Leo Cristiano learns to play this, and then if Peter goes and they bring in a new guy, guess what? Everybody's got a new system to learn.
Yep.
And if they don't meet that system, they've got to go somewhere else, right? Like, it is what it is. So do you ask that question? Then do you ask the psychological question? Do you ask those are the pieces that the kids that want to be at the next level will gravitate towards and take in, and then as they elevate their game or they go to the next level, like, I hope I have players that go away and learn something from somebody else. I don't know everything. I didn't learn everything from one coach.
Exactly.
I've learned it from a variety of coaches, and then
Exactly.
I've pulled bits and pieces, and I've created, okay, this is how I think it works for me to communicate the game. But like, I don't want someone to walk away and be like, well, this is the position I play because this is how I was taught to play it. No, like, yeah, if you're a defender and you're defensively minded, I'm going to play you as a defender, and I'm going to get the best out of you. But I'm going to teach you the principles of what to do in case somebody needs to put you up top to say, go and shut this guy down. Because we need to close out a win, and it's 2-1. You need to go and defend up top the same way you do in the back. Well, what does that mean? Deny opportunities. Don't let them serve the ball long into the box. Take away that's the stuff that I dive into all the time.
Dude, this is fun.
Oh, it was good. I appreciate it.
Dude, I can't wait to get this out there and dude, I'm glad I know your story now.
I was gonna ask when I got in. It's funny. Like, there's a whole other piece, like, with Canada that it still cracks me up. Like, we have kids that go to Canada playing Canada now. We have the Canadians that come down. It's better up there. It's better down here. It's better up there. So the AIM Cup, like,
Yeah.
When
That used to be legit. We used to come.
It was
That article up there. That is my club team coming here for AIM Cup.
It was 89. There was a team from Canada that came down, and my sister used to work the concession stand. She ended up hitting it off with this boy, started dating him. He lived in Etobicoke, Canada, and for 2 summers when they dated, every weekend I was at Islington Flats on Sunday watching men's leagues, like the Colombians versus the Argentinians, the Chileans, and watching him play. He was a Yugoslavian refugee, whatever. But I mean, like, dude was a goal scoring machine. Taught me how to do a bicycle on the stand at the beach. I learned so many things just from being around it. Like, the moment when people used to say, "Oh, it's a beautiful game and everybody loves the ball," I was kind of just thrown into, like, my dad wanted to watch the game, and as much as I liked watching the game, I liked playing the game. So I would watch Ivan play for like 15 minutes. And then I'd start creeping around to be like, okay, who's coming off what fields and where are the kids going? Then I'd just go and jump in with the kids, and half the kids didn't speak English because they were immigrants to Canada. So it was just like, oh, you want to play? Yeah, I'll play. Like, well, sure. It's a whole different element of like, again, culturally diving into what the game is in other places. Like, been to Africa with the Eagles and seen it from that side, and the great book, you probably read it, the How Soccer Explains the World.
Yeah,
like,
it's right there.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And some of that stuff, tried to explain it to people. They're like, I don't understand. I'm like, dude, you just got to dive into this. Like, I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff.
I love it. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Over 3 hours?
Oh, man.
Hope I didn't keep you.
No, wife's probably like, when you come home with dinner?
I hate soccer.